Well, guys, we are back for another episode of the Liberal Asshole Show, episode 119, and the first of 2025. So, what are today's topics?
Brit Allcroft dies. Margaret Elon versus Elongated Muskgrave to the death. Elongated Muskgrave is having a meltdown. K Rowling cries because minority women are women. Trump wants to make a global interstellar American empire. Republicans will never accept gay Republicans, and Russian asset dimfall crushed by a liberal.
Oh boy, a bunch of funny ones to start off with. So, what do we get with first?
Well, we'll get with a sad one. Billy Allcroft dying.
This means a lot to me, as I found out last night on my commentary server that Brit Allcroft, the creator of the TV version of Thomas, died. And it turns out she actually died on Christmas Day, and they didn't reveal it till over a week later.
Man.
As got to the old age of 81. And this is the first time we've covered a death of, media stuff we're into. We covered Akira Toriyama, or was it earlier last year for Dragon Ball?
Yep, Akira Toriyama.
Yep, which mattered a lot to you. And then we covered Yu-Gi-Oh's creator dying, which means the both of us. And now it's my turn to suffer. As, oh my god. She made Thomas as big as it is today. For all of you that somehow don't know what Thomas is, it's a story about anthropomorphic trains. I genuinely do not know how anyone can not know about that, because Thomas is that big of a franchise, and it's a series that I genuinely don't see how anyone could ever hate it. But I'm sure there will. Oh no, there are. There are people that say Sir Topham has a fascist dictator and treats the engines like slaves. I remember those. Oh no. Oh my god, have you ever seen those ones yet?
I probably have.
Oh my god. Oh god. So I was actually thinking about for this as a tribute to maybe watch the very first episode of Thomas I watched, but thinking about it, I might not bother doing it. Instead of talk about other things about Thomas and all that. So, you talked about beforehand, you did not really watch the series, have you?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Of course.
I've seen, some episodes, but not a huge number.
Whereas me, Thomas might be, if any of you watch me long enough, since you all know I love monster trucks, Thomas might be the only other series I know of before even monster trucks. It's one of the...
saying something.
Yep. It is, I think, the first thing I ever saw on TV. Thomas in a Special Letter was the first episode, too. So, yeah. Thomas means a lot to me. Even though I stopped really watching when they went to the CGI because I didn't like it, still means a lot to me. Hell, I even saw the Magic Railroad when it aired in theaters in 2000 with my dad. That's how much it means to me. Yeah, this means a lot to me. And it sucks that she died. It's funny, too, because I was just thinking the other day, because... You didn't know, but the last month, I actually been watching a shit ton of Thomas over the last month. And I was actually thinking about Brit, haven't heard her in a while, she's up there in age, hope nothing happens, and then it freaking does happen. Every time I think something bad happens, it always happens. Every time in my life. Every damn time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you, Brit, for making Thomas very big as it is, because it would be stuck as just a British storybook for this entire time if it wasn't for you. And if if anything, much to conservatives' anger, you can actually talk about politics and Thomas, too.
Yep.
You might, I don't know, since you haven't watched the series as much as me, did you know Thomas and most of the characters are actually pretty racist to diesel engines?
Yeah.
You could actually, you could actually make...
I've heard of that.
Yep, you can make fun of them a lot for that. They could do a good job explaining racism, but they do it in a terrible way. They even make diesels actually evil in all of them. Diesel 10 for crying out loud. Aryan Burt.
Dear.
They could have done a much better job and actually be making fun of the Steamies for being racist all the time. But they did not do a good job explaining it. And then there was that one arc where there was actually workers' rights issue where Gordon, Henry, and James went on strike and all that. If you ever saw that arc, although
I might have heard that referenced at some point.
Although they weren't on strike because they were being overworked. They were on strike because they didn't want to do the work that they felt they were too good to do. So it was for nefarious reasons. We don't shut engine stuff. That's Thomas's job. Oh my god, it is just so nice. Think about the series, and everyone, that's watching, I actually do have a tribute planned for Brit later on this month, so tune in for that. I just finished it up earlier, and it means a lot to me. It's something I've wanted to do for like the last 10 years, and I finally did it. So tune in later in the month, and you'll see what it is. It's going to be special. But yes,
We'll keep an eye out for that.
Yep. So, rip Brit Allcroft, and thank you for making Thomas the big as it is. So, we have to say about it, even though you're not... It's like the reverse of like how it was for me for Dragon Ball. I mean a lot to you, but not as much to me.
Yep. Well, still, it does, does suck, because I do remember, because she's the one who brought it to...
Outside the UK.
Who brought it to... yeah. And that's how I got to see it, so... Yeah.
Even though you technically are under control of the British, unlike us, remember?
Yep, I remember that. Yeah. There's some movement for republicanism.
You had your chance in 1999 and you blew it! How dare you people! Yep. How dare you! You say yes, end of discussion! Ah! But yeah, rip Brit. Thomas is awesome. Haters can suck it. And all that. Yep. Alright, so now that that's out of the way, hopefully we're on to something funny.
Muskgrave and Elongated Muskgrave trying to kill each other.
Oh boy, now this is hilarious! So for the last week plus, Maga and Elongated Muskgrave and Tech Bros have been at war with each other, and we have enjoyed every moment of it, like skeletons fighting in Minecraft. You guys are turning to skeletons shooting at each other, and we're just in the stands.
I had that last night. I had it there where I had like 3 skeletons on one skeleton, and then 2 of the 3 skeletons turned on each other afterwards.
And then we're just sitting on the sidelines watching you fight each other, going fight, fight, kill each other, and then us progressives take over everything. Let's go.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So now you're probably wondering, what are they mad about? Well, it's H-1B1 visas and immigration.
Yes,
the Tech Bro, MAGA, of course, they don't want any immigrants.
They're Nazis. They don't want any immigrants. They just want, and they want to put what immigrants they have in gas chambers.
Yeah. They always lie about, we just don't want illegal immigrants. We don't care about legal immigrants.
No, they actually want to get rid of, try and get rid of all minorities.
Yeah.
They definitely know they want to put all Haitians in gas chambers for eating the dogs, eating the cats, eating the pets.
And now it's Indians that are the victim now, if you saw. So we know the bullshit you all spew. Don't lie to us. We know you just don't want immigrants, period, and all that. You're not fooling us. So that's the MAGA side on this. They want to have no immigrants and kick them all out. The Tech Bros like Elongated Muskgrave, however, they do want immigrants to exploit them for cheap labor.
Yep, they can enslave them.
Yeah, and of course,
and make $1 trillion off them.
Yeah, and MAGA idiots always crying about, they're taking away our jobs, even though a lot of Americans can't do those jobs, and there's a shortage. So what's wrong with bringing immigrants in to do them?
Even though a lot of Americans are too stupid to be able to do those jobs.
That's what I keep saying, but I'm a bad guy apparently for pointing that out, don't you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that hard to be top 100% like youngster Joey always says. You just gotta put some effort into it. So they are going at it. Laura Loomer had a Karen meltdown. Other Karen idiots are having meltdown. Trump side with Elongated Muskgrave, which must devastate MAGA, which we all warned you for years that he wasn't on your side in that regard. You can't ever trust him for anything. You can't trust him for anything. He will turn on you in an instant to get power, which is what he did. So maybe next time you should listen to us when we warn you, because we're right and you are all wrong. How about that one?
Exactly.
Dipshits. So let's watch.
We just got to sit back and be like, take each other out. I only need 2 of you and you lose your majority.
Yep. And by the way, since the new Congress just started again, just just a 2-seat lead in the House. Let's bully those 2 Republicans to make sure Trump doesn't get anything he wants coming up. So let's just sit back and watch Kyle mock these idiots. All
right, guys. So Elon has been having an absolutely legendary crash out.
And he had a meltdown too, which we're going to cover later.
Very visible for the past, I don't even know how many days it's been now. 3 days, 4 days. So it all started because Elon came out, and so did Vivek, in favor of this H-1B visa program. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, It's basically an immigration program where they say, hey, we like high-skilled immigrants to come into the country, particularly for the tech sector, right? Now, of course, the problem with this is the H-1B visa is incredibly exploitative. Basically, it is like indentured servitude.
You can put people in slavery and hold their immigration status over their heads.
Yep, needs to be reformed and all that. But unlike MAGA, that doesn't mean we don't let them come in ever, which they want. Sorry, you're wrong too.
The company kind of owns your ass if you're here working for them. So the whole purpose of it is to bring in foreign workers for lower wages and longer hours. And of course,
like long live the steamy master race.
Hey, if you happen to be an American and you don't want to work for the lower wages and you don't want to work the endless hours, well, then you're sort of asked out. Sorry about that, right? Like, that's the whole idea behind this. Now, of course, Vivek and Elon are in favor of this because they're mega wealthy tech bro assholes, right? How did Vivek make his money? He made his money through a massive pump and dump scam. That's what he did. He bought this Alzheimer's drug and...
Oh! Did you say not Jewish? Because guess what? Now MAGA freaks are calling Elongated Muskgrave anti-Semitic slurs now. I just remembered that. Now he's Jewish. Oh, let's go. Of course,
like I said, pretty much all the MAGAs are Nazis, so of course they'd be firing anti-Semitic slurs at him. Anyone they don't like is a Jew.
How did I forget about that till just now? Thank you, Copy. Thank you for reminding me.
It had already failed like 4 different clinical trials, and he bought it and then used his marketing skills to go out there and pump it up as if, no, we're on the brink of actually making this thing something special, and we're going to make this special, and you guys need to invest in it. And they did the old rug pull and ran out the back door with all the money. Elon, don't even get me started on Elon with all the things he overpromises and underdelivers and is fraudulent about, etc. Remember that video that dropped 13 years ago where he said, I'll have a man on Mars in 10 years.
And he did that with literally everything in his life, the universe and everything.
All that money he has could probably fund American healthcare for 10 years. Wouldn't that be based as he cries in South Africa?
Really? What happened with that? What happened with the Hyperloop? That you promised the moon and the sun and the stars over, and now got Dickie McGee's axe to show for it. There's 1,000 examples of it. I highly recommend, guys. Go to YouTube, type in Thunderfoot, one word,
he's doing.
And Thunderfoot Elon Musk. Type that in, and then
slurs, Nazis, and
put aside like
LGBT.
3 or 4 hours. You can throw it on double speed or 1.5 times speed. This guy, in incredible detail, breaks down the 1,000 ways in which Elon Musk is a total con man. Okay.
Imagine getting humiliated by Thunderfoot too.
Them taking this position made
God,
MAGA go, well, hold on here. What did you think we meant when we said we are anti-immigration and we want net zero immigration? What did you think that meant?
Yeah, that's what we pointed out to all of you. That's what they want, but you all wouldn't listen to us.
So
and
that
we're right
you
again
can
as
make
always.
More profit, you oligarch, billionaire, robber
because we're
baron
smart
prick.
and you're idiots.
And so they started going at it, right? But again, what you're going to see here, this is the problem with Elon and the problem with so many people in the modern day and age is people are way too online, they're way too invested in this shit, and they don't touch grass.
You guys are
they
being
don't have
dumb
hobbies outside
leftists.
of what they do online, right? And so when you're taking in all day, every day, criticisms of you that you feel are unfair, and you feel, oh my God, my whole base is now turning on me, that's when the legendary crash out happens. So let's start with this one. Here we go. Elon Musk 2 days ago. My tolerance for subtards is limited. We'll get more on this in a minute. He started calling the MAGA base both subtards and retards. Okay.
And he took away their blue check marks too.
My tolerance for subtards is limited. And then 2 days after that, this was yesterday, please post a bit more positive, beautiful, or informative content on this platform.
Okay, then get off of Twitter. Twitter, Elongated Muskgrave, you make it worse.
Head Twitter back to the decent people and fuck off forever.
And get kicked out, lose all your money, go cry in South Africa.
We then get killed by...
What? Who you giving the advice to, dog? Yourself? All right, but we're just getting started. So, as you all know, or you should know at least, there's this Twitter user by the name of Adrian Dittman.
Oh yeah, he has an alt. If you heard about that, he has an alt on Twitter and all that. And he got exposed.
And, oh, would you look at that? He just happens to sound exactly like Elon Musk, and defends Elon Musk to the high heavens. And sometimes uses this like voice modulator thing that makes him sound a little bit different, but apparently sometimes when he speaks too fast, the modulator doesn't work. And so,
Elon, you're the richest man probably in the entire world. You could probably just get like the best AI ever to do like a whole random voice and no one would know. But you're such a moron.
Yeah, he's an absolute moron, and so and as a result, he can't think about it.
Because you're an idiot, and that's why we laugh at you.
So it just sounds
the only thing that he's good with is finding the right people.
You're a failure.
Here we have an example of one thing that
fails.
You and the orangutan have tiny dick energy. Does that offend you?
Yes.
Adrian Dittman saying, I just realized I fucked myself after getting his Adrian and Elon syntax mixed up. This has happened a number of times.
Wilbert Aldry has done more in the world by making Thomas than you have ever done in your life, Elongated Muskgrave. Exactly. How about that one?
Times now. Here,
does that hurt?
Whether or not Adrian is Elon, I'm like, what?
Prove it.
Well, prove it. Time-wise, it makes no sense whatsoever. There's a bunch of things where it doesn't line up. I'll give you a few examples.
By the way, before we continue, who does that sound like?
Elongated Muskgrave.
Elongated Muskgrave.
What is this weird game that we're playing, right? Like, what are we doing here?
Why do you not have an AI or something to change your voice? Come on.
I mean, I tend to not
because he doesn't like his voice.
And he's a moron.
The speech impediments, although they be very similar, I tend to use more profanity and have some inaccuracies with assessments of the future.
In other words, Elon gets everything right all the time with his predictions, and I don't so much. That's what we call a ridiculous humble brag.
There's a lot of profanity.
So where are you for the latest? Just don't do it now.
Do you hear that?
Beep, beep, beep.
You hear them say, fuck me, I just fucked myself.
Just don't do it now.
A lot of profanity.
So where are you for the latest? Just don't do it now.
I just realized I fucked myself after I said that, man.
No, my God, stop.
There were other examples, too, of him saying, talking about Elon, but then at some point saying, I. Okay, all right. Here's
Adrian Dittman
talking about Elon's
He's a moron. He doesn't know what he's doing outside of maybe hiring good people and screwing everyone else and turning everyone into slaves.
Or crying about nothing. Or harassing his trans daughter. Which, by the way, it's your daughter, so stay fucking mad.
There's like a specific amount of it as well. So, like, it's given out from a prescription-based purpose, right? For instance, someone like Elon, this is the thing that all these weird unhinged leftists keep throwing at him, is that he takes ketamine. And it's like, it's a very deeply personal thing to ask a person, of course, but if you think about it, the ketamine thing is just because, I mean, hey, how would you feel if you had to deal with as many companies as he does, with as many problems that he needs to do? Like, imagine each and every single one of these companies has some sort of problem that occurs. It just happens this way because the universe is chaotic in nature. And he has to deal with each and every single one of those problems every single day in some way that you can't necessarily anticipate even. So he has to be everywhere. On top of that, he gets attacked from everywhere. You can't imagine the amount of battles that he's fighting all at the same time. Like, all these grifters, they keep putting out this line where it says, oh, he's getting sued for this and getting sued for that. Yeah, people are always going to get sued for something. Doesn't mean that it's correct. It's innocent until proven guilty, and thus far there's no guilt. So, like, what's going on there? Right, so imagine if you're such a person like this, and you have become as big as you have, and then get attacked from all these places simultaneously. It's honestly a miracle that you'd still keep going, and he is. And to his credit, I mean, look, he's working more than most people should, or even anyone should, really. He is really going to work himself to death. It's
6 hours a day is how much he gets with sleep, right? 6 hours a day.
Yeah. It's like he never stops working, like, ever. Maybe he has a little bit of fun here and there because, of course you should, but not that much, not to the extent most people that actually, have themselves like an entire day off or something like that. He doesn't, and so that just keeps going. And then to have, a prescription, so it's like ketamine prescription, it's just a normal thing at that point. It's not something that you're going to abuse. If you abuse ketamine, okay, cool, that is understandable, but that's not what this is. That's not what a prescription is for. It's not what any of that's for. So, the talking points are dog shit.
Wow, what an over-the-top defense of Elon Musk from a voice that sounds exactly like Elon Musk. Very bizarre. You know what this reminds me of? It was in 2015 or 2016, and this story leaked about Trump, about how like all those celebrity-focused, celebrity-obsessed magazines? Trump would call people
God,
who are writers at those magazines, and it was him, but he would lie and say, I'm John Barron, Trump's publicist or agent or whatever, and would say, and it clearly in Trump's voice, he would be like, all these women, they love Trump. They all love Trump so much. They all want to date him. Madonna really wants to date him. All these women are falling all over themselves to try to get a piece of Trump. That's what they're doing. And so one of the writers for one of these magazines was smart enough, because Trump had done this multiple times, to record one of the phone calls. And it was 100% very clearly Trump in his own voice, right? And this story leaked, and the audio played on the news of Trump pretending to be his own publicist to brag about how much all these celebrity women want him. And then when he got caught in that stone cold lie and Trump was asked about it, he goes, that's not me. I don't even know what you're talking about. That's not me. That's not even me at all. And it's like, the amount of hubris one has to have to just do the whole, like, no, your ears are lying and your eyes are lying and all of your sensory perception is just off. And but I'm right. And that had
That's because first criminal offense Donald Trump committed was being born.
It's not me. It's like, what are we doing
why
here,
he
bro?
Should go harass people
what are we
in
doing
the
here?
end.
Do you have any idea how much of an egomaniac,
narcissistic
narcissistic
then maybe he could be essayed in Minecraft by the Ender Dragon.
He would call her a misogynist slur and the N-word, like the Enderman.
Complex freak you have to be
to
try to
pull
the
Ender Dragon eats him.
Over on people? All right, we're not done. Here we go. This one I think actually gets more spicy. So here he is, Adrian Dittman, yelling at the MAGA base. Here we go.
Thank you all for coming today. And ironically enough, some elements of the extreme legacy MAGA movement will have to deal with it as well. Because that's how it is. And don't hate the fucking big tech bros. Because out of all of them, Elon is the only one that's giving all of these crackheads a fucking voice. I want you to try and pull that shit on fucking Facebook and see how long you last. You ungrateful motherfuckers, seriously. You keep crying censorship this, censorship that. You're not censored. Your takes just suck.
Exactly.
Get over it. And get over yourself.
He is so sensitive, too.
You're not an enemy of anyone.
Yeah, of course he is. He's
me for saying
every
this.
negativist
So
in the
be
book.
I don't care.
That's not a surprise.
Yeah, you sound like you don't care.
He would be offended by,
I'm proud of what's new.
Dang it, their name
You
won't
get to
come to
make
my
that
head.
choice yourself. Do better.
Oh, well.
Anyways, thank you all for coming today.
Unbelievable. The entitlement oozing from this man, bro. Holy shit. Holy shit.
He would be offended by Striders. There we go.
Yep. They'd be offended by pretty much any mob that isn't the skeleton, because the skeleton's white.
And even then he would find somebody to get offended. What was that rattle supposed to mean, pal?
Wow. The lack of self-perception.
Strider, why are you purple and shaken? Are you trying to insult me?
You are
Get griefed.
Oligarch, robber baron, billionaire,
ugly
welfare queen, immigrant
with
who
tentacles.
bought the Republican Party,
That looks like it belongs in a
bought
hentai.
our government. And now you're berating and castigating
fireballs
the
at
only
me.
people who actually liked you over this issue because you want to have cheap labor you can exploit. Like, and by the way, we all told you this. Right?
Cleaved in half.
He would punch a zombified piglin.
Everybody on the left told you this. We told the MAGA base this all along.
And then get reduced to atoms by like 25 others.
Who are we kidding? He wouldn't even know how to get into the nether. He'd be trying to buy his way into the nether.
This guy
he wouldn't even
is
know
looking
how
out for
to get into
the good of the American
turn
people.
Minecraft on.
No,
Yeah,
Elon
but
Musk
he's too
wants more money.
stupid.
He wants more power. He wants to own the government, run the government, control the presidency. He wants to give himself more.
By the way, Kyle did another video of Trump and Elon getting into each other's throats again, and we say, please keep killing yourselves.
Corporate welfare and subsidies.
Keep fighting. We love,
right?
we
Like,
love
this is what
watching you
this is
guys
about.
fight. It's awesome.
The endless
Kill
lust
each other
for
like
greed and
skeletons
power.
in
The
Minecraft.
idea he's trying to deliver wins for the American people and make America great again. Like, are you kidding me?
All you do is rattle your
Are
bones
you
when
kidding
you
me?
walk.
And here he is smugly lecturing. Now, by the way, he was
Good
saying,
one.
dude, this isn't censorship. I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't let them see a winter skeleton, then they'll get fully racist.
Right? Because all of these right-wing MAGA accounts that were critical of Elon, there was some sort of retribution Elon got on them. Like, for example, with Laura Loomer, removed her check mark, I think it was, because Laura Loomer was going after Elon. There's others on the right, the exact same thing. Then you have, like, the Groyper types, like the Nick Fuentes followers.
Yep, Nick Fuentes.
He started just mass banning them. Now, by the way, understand something. These guys are pretty openly Nazi or Nazi adjacent at the very least, right? But understand he didn't ban them for that reason. He banned them because they disagreed with him.
Because he's a Karen like they are.
All
of you are Karen.
You want a Hitler
and that's
post
why we laugh at you,
by
because
all
you're
means.
morons, every one of you. Fight like skeletons.
You disagreed with my take on the H-1B
you hit me with
visa,
that arrow,
and you
I'll
made
hit
some
you
memes
right back.
making fun of me? Gone.
Forget the player.
It reminds me of,
Fuck
again,
the
we
player. I wanna
warned
murder
everybody on the
you
left
instead.
warned you all along about Elon Musk. Remember,
you
where
round the wrong way.
It was like
I'm
the night of
offended.
the long knives for journalists who were critical of Elon on Twitter.
What's
you remember that?
N-word winter
Remember when
skeleton over
he
there?
banned the Elon Jet account because he made the argument that's
the
doxing.
skeleton causes him to wither away.
They would not know how to put a block up so it can't fit because it's too tall, because he's too stupid.
And I'm unsafe. And what that person did was literally not doxing by definition, that this was all publicly available information. Right? So bans the Elon Jet account, bans
slur too.
all these journalists who reported on the feud that Elon had with the Elon Jet account. Just boom, like that, overnight. Wiped out, what was it, 6, 7, 8 accounts because they're doing their fucking job. Right? This is who this man is. He's a petty authoritarian. It's so ironic he portrays himself as this free speech absolutist. My ass cheeks free speech absolutist.
Where every white person was a sour piece of shit towards every black person. So of course he's going to be a sour piece of shit.
The only thing he wants is to run a village full of nitwit villagers.
Kidding me?
Yep.
So now the MAGA base is getting a little taste of what happens when you cross the Emperor Overlord God King, when you cross President Musk. And of course Donald Trump came out and said, I agree with Musk on the H-1B visas. So by the way, where are you now, MAGA? Maybe spare some of that anger and that vitriol for the supposedly the head man himself, Donald Trump, who very clearly took Elon's side in this battle. All right, let's see what else we got here. Here's Elon replying to a tweet and saying the following. The reason I'm in America, along with so many critical people who built SpaceX, Tesla, and hundreds of other companies that made America strong, is because of the H-1B.
You're a mistake,
Take a big step back
so get
and
out.
Fuck yourself in the face. I will go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend. Oh, you're a tough guy? You're a tough guy, you bloated beluga whale, pasty ass, robber baron, welfare queen, immigrant prick. Is that what you're a tough guy?
I love that one.
Don't offend the whale Murdo, Kyle.
I'll go to war over this issue.
True.
I'll go to
What
war over the
will
H-1B
Lord
visa.
ever do to be offended?
By the way, it's also...
They didn't
we
need
learned this
to.
from Elon's brother.
They
According
need
to
to.
Elon's brother, Elon was an illegal immigrant. Illegal.
Yep, he's an illegal immigrant,
So,
which means that he's an invader.
I know
Let's deport him and take his money then, people. Doesn't that sound based?
what MAGA's stance
Yes,
is.
take all
I'm
of
just
his
throwing
money.
it out there.
Take
I
all
was
of
saying
his
this
money
before
and
it was
make him
cool.
work for
Deport this motherfucker.
$7.25.
No, make himself Africa's problem.
You think you could just buy the government
No, I
willy-nilly
don't
and
want
not
to
have
inflict
people
that
realize
upon
that?
inflict elongated Musgrave on them.
He's got to go
Sorry.
somewhere. Oh, how about we just send a one-way ticket to Mars?
Not have people fight back. This is supposed to be a constitutional republic and a representative democracy.
Bye-bye in
and
1
you're trying
minute
to
on the
destroy
surface,
all
or
of that
less than a minute.
as a South African immigrant billionaire welfare queen robber baron prick. I got more.
pick
Elon
your
Musk
poison
endorsed a
death.
post suggesting
Suffocation or
Americans are
freezing,
too
or irradiation.
retarded to do skilled jobs. Too retarded to do skilled jobs. See, their elitism comes out again. It was always
Elon
it was always
and
a
Vivek
farce.
said Americans
This
are too
idea
retarded
that,
to do those jobs.
Like they are attacking elites, motherfucker.
Because he's an elitist
you are
prick,
the
'cause
elite.
he's a
You
moron.
are the establishment.
Yep.
You've always been that.
And you
always.
all fell for it like idiots, like we
You're
warned
part
you.
of the ruling class.
So once again,
The
listen
fact
to
that anyone
us.
fell for it is preposterous, beyond me. All right, and then finally, I'll give you this. This one's fun. Sloppy Steve. Sloppy Steve is not having it with Elon. Now, again, it'll be interesting to see. Trump agreed with Elon on the H-1B, right? And by the way, it was a massive contradiction. There's a video of Trump, I think from 2016 in a debate, where he says, you got to end it. You got to end the H-1B. So totally flip-flops.
Of course, we
Takes the
expect
opposite
from an
position. Nobody
orangutan.
cares. Nobody bat an eyelash, right?
Okay.
So here's Sloppy Steve.
So the lack of atmospheric pressure is what will kill you first if you wind up on Mars.
And what would that do?
Remember, Mars is up. No. So radiation would take years. The radiation take years. There's others that'll take months. Your lack of water would be a few days. Hypothermia would be about half an hour to an hour. While the lack of atmospheric pressure would kill you in about 5 to 10 seconds of indescribable pain.
And be like, oh, please have a plant white dust storm in the mix too.
Going after
Not gonna
Elon
help.
Musk.
Not gonna help.
You think he cares? He'll be like, hey, at least it'll be a balmy 73 degrees as a high.
Steve now have some smoke for Trump. My guess is no. Because he's a cuck, and because Trump saved his ass when Sloppy Steve committed fraud on a massive scale and said to people he was going to crowdfund the border wall, and he took millions of dollars in donations, and of course they couldn't build the border wall.
Progressive.
All right, here we go. Hit me, Sloppy Steve.
Up crony capitalism and Elon Musk. And by the way, when we cut him off, he went begging the CCP, and that's why they have the joint venture in Shanghai, the Tesla, which is 100% of his value, right? This guy lives on government contracts and taxpayer subsidies, okay?
True.
It's all. We're going to get Joe Allen in here for a second to transition. Elon Musk, once again, brother.
Welfare
I'm
queen.
smart enough to tell you no to your face. And I'm evil enough to be able to expose you as a running dog for the greatest enemy this nation's ever had. You are a war profiteer. You're sleeping with the enemy.
True.
Brother. And you've been doing it because you're not an American nationalist.
Imagine Steve Bannon all of a sudden being the voice of reason.
All you are is a globalist.
True.
That is not.
Okay, a globalist.
That is
you will go where everybody,
nuts.
anybody writes you a check, and you would take it from Adolf Hitler
the guy
himself
who
because you're taking it
engineered
from
the
people that are
Nazi
as
shit.
bad as Adolf Hitler.
Nazi
The
shit that
murderous
now
regime
infests the Republican
of the Chinese
Party.
Communist Party, which you praised on their 100th anniversary.
Okay, that goes a little too far. To say China is equal to Adolf Hitler, like what the fuck are you talking about?
But
Kyle,
the part
that's
if
correct
they get what they want, they would be like Hitler.
Elon has a lot of business with the Chinese government. By the way,
I'd
that's
say 90 Night of towards the Uyghur specifically, Night of Broken Glass to Wannsee Conference, Nazi Germany. The rest of them, like pretty much 1933, Hitler taking power to Night of Broken Glass, Nazi Germany. So remember that when it comes to how authoritarian some of these countries are, left and right become fucking irrelevant.
They're red fascist pieces of shit.
Continuing resolution the other day. Remember that?
And they want to murder
Had
every single
$190 million
Taiwanese
in it
everyone in
for
the area.
Child cancer research, and he tanked it.
And all of those surrounding mini countries like Nepal and Bhutan.
Other things that were in that bill that he destroyed? Like,
they want to
the
murder
reason he did that is
like
because
MAGA
there was a provision which cracked down on investment in China. And he's invested in China.
Well, murder and beating up the most
populous
country again.
Right? He is. He's an outsourcing guy. He is a globalist. That is true. He doesn't give a fuck about American workers. He cares about cheap labor to...
Of course, we gotta remember, too, when they say globalist, it most likely means Jews. We gotta always remember that, people. Gotta be careful about that term now.
Right?
Every mention of globalist, you put the
go after
parenthesis around
Trump?
it like 80%.
Because Trump agreed with Elon. You're going to go after him for flip-flopping on this and saying the opposite in
now
2016?
Zionist, too, because of
MAGA,
dumb leftists.
What are you going to do?
Yep,
I've seen a lot of cope around this. So,
Here's the thing. If you can pause that, I want to actually mention this. Jason Dinkelberg thinks that he's not controlled by the establishment because he opposes them on everything. Does he know that you conflating Zionism and Judaism is exactly what the establishment wants you to do?
You think he knows?
Exactly when you oppose the establishment on literally everything, you are being controlled by the machine. You are not opposing the machine.
Oh yeah? Well, you're just a globalist, pal. How about that one?
I don't believe it.
At least I actually disagree and agree sometimes. I don't reflexively disagree with everything the establishment says, proving that you're just being controlled by them.
We hear directly from the big guy himself. Well, he did say it. He said it in an interview, and everybody ran with the quote. Oh, no, that's not good enough. He has to say it directly, like on his Truth Social or something like that. And bro, he'll find a way to like compromise it and make it right. And like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? So the MAGA Civil War is alive and well.
And I want you
I
all
got
to
my
kill each
popcorn
other
ready,
like
and I'ma keep
skeletons in
watching.
Minecraft,
Hey,
and then
I'll
we
do me a
take
favor.
over.
And-
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you gotta say about all those Karens as always?
Karen's gonna Karen.
And keep fighting. Fucking
Yep.
morons. Alright. So now what's next?
And that is Elongated Muskgrave is having a meltdown.
Of course! Why we're not surprised? It's still going! Let's watch Elongated Muskgrave keep raging and raging and raging.
So Elon Musk
Raging.
is either desperately trying to deflect attention from all the heat he's getting from MAGA, or he's having some sort of genuine psychological breakdown.
Break!
I need to show you what
Both.
he's been doing. Okay, so as you all know, there's this Adrian Dittman account on Twitter. Now, Elon swears up and down it's not him. If you listen to the guy talk in Twitter Spaces, I mean, I don't know what you want me to tell you. You go
It sounds
listen,
just
make your
like
own mind
you,
up.
Elon. You
I
can't
have
deny
very
it.
clear thoughts and opinions on it. But
And you said
this is
I
what Elon decided to do
accidentally
the other day.
multiple
You ready? So,
Yep.
Adrian Dittman tweeted, "Imagine you're a journalist who's writing about Elon on X." And it goes, quote, "Elon Musk, a.k.a. Kekius Maximus on X," with the laughing emojis, right? Elon quote tweets Adrian Dittman and says, "This will be priceless." And so, as you can see, Elon changed his Twitter name to Kekius Maximus with this, like,
for
Pepe the Frog
fuck's sakes,
meme.
that is beyond cringe.
And he did an AI art of Keck playing
course,
on a controller.
Yeah.
Oh god, when you see the video, it looks sad.
Wearing,
Yeah.
Roman soldier gear. Homie genuinely and sincerely has, like, I want to say Reddit brain, but that's unfair to Reddit and people who use Reddit. It's more like 4chan brain from 2016. We're talking about Keck.
Yeah.
We're talking about Keck.
Kekistan has been
We're
dead
going back to
forever.
2016 goofball
Exactly.
memes
It's
that
been
have
like
aged
7,
like
8
milk.
years.
What do you... Bro, he's 53 years old. Elon is 53 years old. And this is the shit he's talking about. This is what he's doing.
'Cause
This is how
you're
he's spending
a
his... Don't you have
moron.
like 78
Yeah,
companies
of
to run?
course.
And this is what you're doing?
Imagine
No,
not
he's
running
not
your
well,
business
bro.
properly.
He's either this is like the saddest attempt to just change the conversation from him stabbing MAGA in the back and stabbing the country in the back and literally
you
firing
should
American
run
workers at Tesla to bring in cheap
everyone.
labor.
Maybe you should
So
run.
even stabbing everyone, even himself in the back.
Maybe he's jealous he can't run businesses like I can in all my business simulation games.
Yeah.
Or I run countries. Like, remember Papal States on Age of History Free?
Did a
Foreign
good
immigrants
one
on the
there.
H-1Bs. Either he's just deflecting for the sake of deflecting to try to change the conversation, or he's genuinely having some sort of psychological breakdown. All right, more.
And I
This
enjoy
guy
every
says,
moment of his
in
suffering.
2016, Don Jr.
Yeah,
was
I'm
smeared
gonna
by the
say
media for
both.
sharing a Pepe the Frog meme. In 2024, Elon Musk made Pepe his profile picture. There is hope. Elon responds to this rando making this point and says, "We're so back. You're so back. You're so back." Because you put a fucking cartoon meme frog that's associated with the alt-right in like 2016.
He probably wants to sexually
You're
assault
so back
frogs
for that
in
reason?
Minecraft too.
Like, what? Okay. All right. We got more. Elon's retweeting this. Kekius Maximus.
And then it
and,
gets sexually assaulted by a slime in
it's,
retaliation.
You know, this dude, like from the movie Gladiator in the
Hey,
Coliseum,
Magma
saying,
Cubes,
"Are
how
you
about you
not
harass him
entertained?
instead of
Do
me
we
and
have
push
any
me to
more
lava
here?"
all the time?
Another dude tweet. Like, bro. All
He
the
deserves to be
Elon
pushed
meat
in lava.
riders are the dumbest
That
people in
he
the country.
does.
I mean, we have to call it what it is.
Hang on,
Right?
even better. Pushed off the edge of the end into the void.
All his stuff go bye-bye.
If you're an Elon meat rider at this point,
All
you
those
have the
emeralds
IQ of a
and
diamond.
diamonds you have.
Like, how many
even
red-
better, just have him forever orbiting the landmass.
Or torture him. Let's lock him in Bedrock Prison. You can't mine out of that one.
Flags have to be put out there.
Yeah,
How many dumb
literally
things does he have
impossible.
to do? How many fucking
Of
cons
course
does he have to
he'll
pull on the
cheat.
country? What happened to the Hyperloop? What happened? I thought, oh, this is the future, and you can dig in the ground and make the tunnels. What happened to the Hyperloop? What happened? Are they active? What happened? What happened to the Hyperloop? I thought this was going to be the big thing. What happened to Elon 13 years ago saying, "I'll put a man on Mars in 10 years"? Are we on Mars? Are we on Mars? I'm just giving a couple examples
not even close.
of just a litany
We're
of
not even back
outright
on the
con
moon
jobs.
Yeah.
Okay, but no, he's still got these meat
Well, if
riders.
things go well either
Like-
this year or next year.
Tell him his farts don't smell. Tweeting cringe ass shit like Kekius Maximus, and he's And guess what? Guess
like
what?
Base Shuckle Wall says, you guys are weirdos.
You can take my word for it.
Yeah, they're all weirdos.
If you look
That's
at the
why he deserves
replies,
to be laughed at.
the right flank of MAGA, like the white
You're the same
nationalist MAGA
dipshits that
types,
I became a
are
progressive
under there
back
saying,
in the 2000s
yeah,
as a teen.
this doesn't land well anymore.
You're no
Like,
different
Exactly.
than
we're
you
not
were back
with you
then.
anymore. You sold us out. You sold the country out. Like, you
You're
just want
boring
cheap
and
labor.
uncool.
You just care about your profit.
Yeah.
So there was sort of an awakening among some factions in MAGA where they're like, oh shit, hold on. Having the world's richest man, a brazen corporate welfare queen, immigrant robber baron, run the country seems like a bad idea. Seems like
Maybe you should have listened to us,
and
Dad.
his profits. And he doesn't give a shit about anybody else.
Because we're right and
don't
you're
say.
wrong as always, you
don't
idiot
say.
conservative.
If only the left was warning you
You're
about
too
that.
stupid
I don't know,
to
fucking
know you're
day
stupid.
Day one.
Yeah. That's
And that's-
it took what happened recently
All
and
of
him-
these MAGA types.
And that's why you all deserve to be laughed at every day.
Being cringe as shit. Again, you're 53 years old.
You get no
You're
respect.
53 years old. And you're doing some 2016 alt-right Pepe cartoon frog Kekius Maximus cringe. Like, I'm sorry, he has permanent 14-year-old 4chan user brain. That's what he has. You're not the leader of a movement. You're not some special genius. You are some lucky asshole who managed to rise to the top in our disgusting, rigged-ass, decrepit system. I told you guys this all along, but the idea... A lot of people have this default belief that, oh, if you're a billionaire, it must be because you're smarter than everybody else. It must be because you're harder working than everybody else. I think everybody assumes that, or many people assume that to one extent or another. The only people who don't are, like, far lefties who understand the nature of reality in this instance. Because, no, the fact of the matter is, 60% of billionaires come from extreme wealth and privilege. So the majority of the time, the idea,
Exactly.
excuse me.
That Andy Elongated Muskgrave.
Self-made, mega rich person. Nonsense.
He
Born
couldn't-
into extreme
both
wealth
of them
and
couldn't even
privilege.
make a dirt house in Minecraft.
Started on third base and
Exactly.
thought they hit a triple.
They could.
Born
Well,
on
they
third
couldn't
base,
even
thought
get into the start the game up.
They hit a triple. However the saying goes, you get the point.
They wouldn't even know how to
And
buy
I mean,
it.
look, he has done so
Yeah,
much to
exactly. They wouldn't even know how to get a
shatter the myth
Computer.
how
of the
to-
genius
Yeah.
billionaire.
It's amazing
right?
they even
Just
know
like
how to
his
breathe.
asshole buddy Mark Andreessen and Peter Thiel. We should be thanking
Imagine
these
being
guys. I
too
should
dumb
be
to not be
sending
able
them,
to breathe.
you know, fruit baskets with a thank you card to say, you've done more for leftism in like a year or two than I've done my whole life. Because all people have to do is listen to your dumb ass on Rogan's podcast or whoever's to go, you know, he doesn't seem all that impressive. You know, he seems like he's internet brain poisoned. You know, he just screwed American workers over, but wants me to believe that he's going to be a fighter for American workers. Yeah, all these people are charlatans, man. They're frauds. They're frauds. And I got to be honest with you. Do I think he's trying to deflect attention from his scandal? Sure. But I actually think the more likely thing is he's genuinely having some sort of psychological breakdown. I do think
And
the
I hope
ketamine
you
use,
keep
the
having
perpetual
one.
ketamine use has fried his brain.
Oh, I love it.
I think it
wanna
has.
keep going.
And stuff like this is just such a clear example. There is
Get harassed by
99%
the man
of
in the fall in a
53-year-olds
Minecraft mod.
are with it enough, psychologically
Exactly.
there
Or the
enough to
cave
know
dweller.
posting cringe-ass weird
Or
shit like
maybe
this
even the
as the
corruption
richest man in the
champion.
world is unbecoming and
or
makes you
or
look like
maybe
a colossal
even the
idiot.
warden.
Or maybe
Everybody seems
Hero
to get that, but one man,
Yes,
Elon
Hero
Musk.
Brian.
So
Get smited like
Donnie,
me
I'm
and
waiting
Av
for
did
your
one
breakup with
time.
him. Don't keep me waiting much longer. He's just begging for it at this point. Hey, y'all, do me a favor
Oh
and
my
like and
God, what a fucking moron. So yeah, what an enjoyable laugh at Elongated Muskgrave having a mental meltdown, as he always does. You fucking
Yep.
idiot. Stupid fucking
I love
moron as
that.
always. Always cope and rage more. Alright, so what's next?
And that would be... Ah, yes. J.Q. Rowling and Their their insistence on only white women being women, and that if you're not a white woman, you're a man.
You know, I think J.K. Rowling's gonna be jealous when she dies, and she won't be liked when she dies, unlike Brit here.
Exactly.
As a Harry Potter fan, how would you feel when she dies? How would you feel? Having a tough time to sign, huh?
Yeah.
Alright, so let's watch transphobe TERF Karen Rowling cry about another cis woman having the nerve to just want to play sports because God forbid.
Exactly.
God forbid.
And it's because she's a minority.
As you'll all recall, J.K. Rowling spearheaded an international hate campaign against Algerian boxer Imani Khalif during the Paris Olympics.
Sue her for every
she
Imani
kept
Khalif.
insisting that Imani Khalif was a man who was beating up on women, even though it was patently false. Now, just to refresh your memory, she tweeted out, "Could any picture sum up our new men's rights movement better? The smirk of a male who knows he's protected by
She's
a
a woman, you
sporting
stupid
establishment,
fuck.
enjoying the distress of a woman he's punched
She
in the
says
head,
she's
and
not
his
even
life's
trans.
ambition he's just shattered." Now, again, Imani Khalif is a cis woman.
Imagine
But
being
J.K.
so
Rowling also
transphobic
took
you
aim
go after
at
cis women
Chinese
now.
boxer Lin Yuting, who is another cis woman at the Paris Olympics, and she also accused Lin Yuting of being a man as well. And regardless of how many people corrected her, she refused to stop tweeting about Imani Khalif in particular, and it got so bad that Khalif filed a cyberbullying lawsuit against her. And after weeks of silence from Rowling,
mad.
many of us had wondered if she finally had learned her lesson,
Every
maybe,
penny
but it
verse
turns
gone,
out she did
hopefully.
not. She is incapable of growing and learning.
Maybe you need to make
in fact,
good fan
she
fiction
attacked
again to make
Khalif's
it back.
appearance again after that period of silence and demanded that she release the results of a DNA test to prove that she is sufficiently woman, I guess. And even though
Back to
Imani
harassing
Khalif was
Khalif
brought
again.
to tears by
Of
these despicable attacks, J.K. Rowling never felt an ounce of sympathy for the deluge of hate that she incited against this woman. She never
She does not
apologized, never
care.
even bothered to issue a correction. So it goes without saying that J.K. Rowling is a terrible human being who has not and will never learn her lesson, and she already found a new target. This time, it is 24-year-old Barbara Banda, who is a soccer star from Zambia, and she plays for Orlando Pride,
Zambia,
and
which
she's
means
also the
she's a
captain of
minority and therefore a man, according to J.Q. Rowling, because J.Q. Rowling thinks that only white women can be women.
the country's national
Racist
team,
much?
and she just won the vote to be BBC's Footballer of the Year.
God
So
forbid she
what's the
sees
problem?
Enderman then.
This is a woman who is succeeding. You would think that J.K. Rowling would be happy about that. But no, J.K. Rowling, the arbiter of femininity and womanhood, doesn't think that Banda's woman enough to be deserving of this award.
Really?
And
She's not
because
woman enough,
J.K.
huh?
Rowling thinks that, because J.Q. Rowling, again, if you're not a white woman, you're not a woman enough for J.Q. Rowling.
Kind of bold of you to determine that for other people.
That Banda
That seems like
is
Karen
a man
behavior.
pretending to be a woman. So in response to this news, she tweeted out, presumably the
Oh,
BBC
kid, we know you're
decided this was
Karen.
more time efficient than going door to door to spit directly in women's faces. And as you can see, she's responding to someone who's pointing out that
Does she
Banda
look
failed
like
to meet
she's
sex eligibility.
feminine enough? Or did that work? I think that worked.
Oh my God! She back to harassing again.
Requirements and was apparently banned from playing by the
Maybe someone should
Confederation of African
I'm
Football
surprised
several
nobody's transvestigated her.
years ago. Now, because of this, it's led
But she
to
doesn't
speculation about her possibly being trans, as if that's such a bad thing. But Banda is not trans. She is a cis woman. She identifies as a cis woman, and she was assigned
But
female at
she's
birth.
not a
And for some
white
additional
woman,
context,
that's
Al
why.
reports
Yep.
all this transphobia
Racism,
arises from an
people.
incident in 2022 when
Racism
Zambia.
well, remember that J.Q. Rowling, yes, I am replacing the K with the Q for a deliberate reason, is literally a TERF neo-Nazi.
Which I was just about to bring up her Nazi incident months ago.
withdrew Banda
Also,
from its
remember
team for
that
the women.
she's also denying aspects of the Holocaust related to transgender people. So, yeah.
She's gonna be so
neo-Nazi.
man. She's gonna be so salty when she dies, and she won't be remembered finally, like Brit was.
Women's Africa Cup of Nations after a doctor refused to sign off on her sex verification.
So many
While
people,
some
yet you're
reports
not
say it was because of high levels of testosterone,
That
that
sounds
is
like a skill
untrue.
issue.
And the real reason was evaluation of her physical conditions, according to her agent. No existing regulations that we are aware of prevents Barbara's participation, he added. The Confederation of African Football Communications Director, Lux September, said that there was no such decision from the CAF Medical Committee when asked if the organization was responsible for Banda's removal from the team. However, the president of Zambia's Football Association said whatever happened was purely a CAF requirement. Now, the FAS says it is working on improving its gender testing, which it considered to be a lot more stringent than FIFA regulations, and they put too much stress on testosterone levels. She was then ruled eligible by FIFA, the top soccer organization in the world, for the 2023 Women's World Cup, with FIFA saying the World Cup participants assure that they carry out their own investigations and that they clearly show that their players are female. So, like Imani Khalif and Yoon Lin Ting, Barbara Banda was subjected to sex verification.
Oh, there's a
which is something
third woman
that male
now,
athletes
apparently.
are not subjected to, by the way.
course.
And it called into question whether or not she was a real woman for trans investigators like J.K.
She
Rowling.
won't.
And we're gonna come back.
She'll go around harassing minority cis women because, again, she's a turf neo-Nazi. Only white women can be women, according to her.
Rowling, you're probably one of the richest women in the world. Do you really think you should care about stuff like this? Shouldn't you have more important things like to do, like, actually write other fiction besides Harry Potter? Or is that too much work for you?
Back to sex verification in a moment.
Maybe
She isn't getting the top part. She isn't getting the benefit. She isn't getting the returning to fame that she did with the Harry Potter series.
Maybe she's jealous she can't make good work like My Blossom in Summer like I can.
Why J.K. Rowling almost always
Don't forget the
fixates
Rainbow One
on
people that came out last week.
women of color. She's the most suspicious
Conservatives will
of
be mad
black
about
women
Ika,
and
the
women of color. I
progressive
mean,
Christian
two
girl,
of
as
the three
always.
high-profile women that she has transvestigated this year are African women. Now, putting aside Rowling for a moment, black women and women of color in general are disproportionately the targets of national and international transvestigations. Think of Sierra, Michelle Obama, Brittany Griner, Castor Semenya,
Yeah, because they're
Serena
racist
Williams,
and they think
and
that
others.
only white women can be
all
women.
Of these women have in common? They are black women. So J.K. Rowling isn't just revealing her transphobia, she's also exposing her racism. And my friend Olaima Olurin explained why this happens.
Remember, she's a turf neo-Nazi.
Man, you're rivaling Thomas as everyone for racism. Oof.
Oh, that's saying
exclude
something.
and endanger trans women. It hurts black women overall.
Are you not
who
a
have
steamy?
historically
You're
had our
evil.
one, femininity and womanhood disregarded. 2, our physical features masculinized, which will be a core element of this video. And 3, denied the social standing and protection afforded to our white and non-black counterparts. Colorism refers to the privileges granted based on how close your proximity to whiteness is. As a result, the darker you are, the less privilege you receive and the less desirable you are. So, both dark-skinned black women and men experience anti-blackness that is exacerbated by colorism that affects how we are perceived and how desirable we're considered. But our gender changes that experience. Because a feature of colorism is that dark skin is considered more masculine, while light skin is considered more feminine. So what happens is dark-skinned black women are seen as more masculine, and light-skinned women are seen as more feminine, and thus more desirable.
Except
white and black men are seen as women.
Except Japanese women, which they obsess over sexually, which are not as white as us.
This phenomenon doesn't spare
That's
anyone.
the one exception.
It takes no prisoners, not even the first black first lady of the United States of America.
Oh my god! Oh yep.
Michelle
It all
Obama.
makes sense why they keep obsessing Michelle Obama. Of course, is trans. Oh god! Every time it now makes sense.
Right. And I'm gonna link you to the.
Because remember, only again, I'm a broken clock at this point, but it's just true. I'm going to reinforce it as much as I can that white women are only white women can be women according to these people.
Imagine obsessing over people's spouses.
Full video down below, and highly encourage you to watch
Imagine
it because
obsessing over women
she
just
breaks
playing
down
sports.
the interconnectedness of transphobia and racism
Imagine
and
obsessing
colorism,
over women
and it is
being
very
who they
fascinating.
are.
Now, going back to J.K. Rowling,
And imagine being
she
salty
targets
that
non-white women
no one likes
because
you-
she is
like
either
you anymore
wittingly
for
or
your work.
unwittingly playing into this stereotype that women of color and black
because you were in a
women
massive
are more
bubble at the
masculine
time.
compared to the more dainty,
When
feminine
you die,
white
no one's
women.
going to be fond of you.
But
Even
when you
Harry
start
Potter
to really
fans.
unpack what it is that makes
Well, except
women
for those those are
real
also termed
women to these people,
neo-Nazis.
that's where you get into very dangerous territory. For example, you know, there are women who can't reproduce or who are intersex but identify as women. Are
They're
they
not
real
women, though,
to J.K.
remember?
Rowling?
Oh.
How does she
They're
get to determine
men,
if they
according
are
to
or
them.
aren't? You know, it depends on the transphobe that you're talking to with regard to those questions, but there are also women with PCOS who have been misgendered before as well. We've talked about this. They've been transvestigated, but they're cis women. They have elevated levels of testosterone, and that leads to the production of excess body hair. Are these women not real women if they don't shave their facial hair? Even though they're as cis as J.K. Rowling? I mean, she'd probably
Maybe
argue,
someone needs to transvestigate J.K. Rowling.
She looks like a witch in Minecraft.
Because they would fail gender verification
Where's your
tests,
wart
and
on
that
your nose?
seems to be her standard, I guess. But even though J.K. Rowling loves
Makes
these
sense to
tests
spew
because she thinks that it's
splash
helping to
potions
suss
of
out the
poison
trans people who she
everywhere.
hates, all it's doing is subjecting every single woman to pain and suffering that's unnecessary,
is
both
cry in your
trans and
witch
cis
hut with your
alike.
black
Which
cat.
is why the Human Rights Watch has called on sports governing bodies to end the practice altogether, since female athletes, largely from the global south, are disproportionately targeted and harmed by so-called sex testing regulations. They also say, additionally, women being observed under the regulations and in some cases being compelled to undergo a medical examination amounts to policing women's bodies based on arbitrary definitions of femininity and
want
racial
to rape
stereotypes. And that is
them, you
absolutely
mean?
correct. Now, to demonstrate this, they share the story of Annette
And
Nagesa.
remember,
She's a Ugandan runner.
it's not just the adults either. I remember I remember one time that a transphobe told a girl, 9-year-old girl with short hair, to take her clothes off to show she wasn't a T-slur, and then then him and his wife had the gall to call other people groomers and pedophiles when they were called out.
Yep, because we covered it. Oh my god.
Hell,
Yeah.
following
You guys
results of
are
a blood
weirdos
test
and
that made her
disgusting.
ineligible to
Yeah.
compete in
Mind
women's
your
sports.
damn
Now, I'll link you
business.
to the video down below if you want to see her
mind your
full story. It is
business
very
before
sad,
you-
just to warn you.
Before you
But again,
mind your
this
business
is
for you.
You may not like freedom, but we like freedom and liberty here, pal.
not something that male athletes are
Exactly.
subjected to. But yet,
That's
you have
right.
so-called
You guys up there
feminists
in the
like
UK
J.K.
don't like
Rowling
freedom. That's why you tried to
using
oppress us and we broke away
these
from you.
sexist gender
And you're still
verification
salty about
tests
it.
to
They'll
delegitimize
always be
women
still-
who
they'll
she
always
believes
do
aren't
that.
sufficiently feminine or aren't real women. But, you know, it's weird that she is implicitly and explicitly supporting these types of tests for women when
Because she's a cunt.
male athletes don't have to go through this. Even though certain males do
Like my
have natural
old adage
features
I
that
said
give
a
them
long time ago,
biological
ugly
advantages.
Karen
As David
cunt.
Dole points out, Michael Phelps, for example, possesses a disproportionately
Maybe
vast
she should
wingspan.
do those
His double
tests. She'll
jointed
be
angles
surprised.
gives his kick unusual range. In a quirk that borders on supernatural, Phelps apparently produces just half the lactic acid
What about
of a
all the
typical
advantages
athlete.
Michael
And since
Phelps
lactic
had?
acid causes fatigue,
Yeah.
he's simply better equipped
Hey,
at a
he's a
biological
winner too.
level
Let's
to excel
go.
in his sport. Now, just stop for a moment and ask yourself, can you imagine the level of humiliation and ridicule that Michael Phelps would be subjected to by people like J.K. Rowling if he were a woman?
But
Thank
he's a
you,
white man, so
Rowling.
who
But since he's
cares?
a man, the
If he
response
was
is, wow,
if he was a
he,
black
he
woman,
got-
you know that'd be like just screaming the N slur and the T slur at her every day,
Yep,
every second.
But Phelps is a white man, so who cares if he has advantages?
got really lucky. I guess
Yeah,
nature just
exactly.
dealt him a good deck of playing cards. But if it's a woman, we screech at the top of our lungs and insist that we see her genitalia and have a blood
Creepy,
test and see the
perverted
DNA
Karens.
results
Yeah.
and determine whether or not she's
Yeah.
officially a woman.
She's probably
It is
jealous.
so
She's
disgusting.
ugly compared to them.
Sex testing in sports is creating
Yeah,
a climate
just in the
of
picture I showed.
mass hysteria and
You didn't wanna
paranoia
do her.
that is harming
How old
cis
is she now?
and trans women. And it's
You're
giving
jealous, Brett
bigots
Allcroft.
She's
like
only
J.K. Rowling
59.
You're jealous, Brit. She's still jealous. Britt Allcroft is better than her in every single way.
ammunition to police
Yeah,
the
even at
femininity
81.
of other women, especially if they happen to be non-white. It is so fucked up. Now, while it
You
is
wish
true
you
that
could
black
make a
women
beloved
and women
series
of
like
color,
Thomas
both
and still
cis
be
and
liked.
trans, bear the brunt of transvestigations, we have reached a point in our collective cultural hysteria where basically no one is safe, right?
Don't let J.Q. Rowling know about female trains at Thomas. She'll probably try and
Yeah.
expect them sexually. Oh no.
I mean, I've talked about before how
Emily,
even some
you better
men like Kyle
run,
Rittenhouse and Andrew
Mavis.
Tate have been the subjects of online transvestigations. Even AI is being
And all the other
transvestigated
female
by
characters
these
they've
freaks.
aid in the
To show you what I
CGI
mean,
series.
Evan shared a screenshot of somebody's
Especially since
innocuous
they're
post about the
minorities.
talent of volleyball players,
Of course.
and one of the first
Which means
replies
they will
is
be
pointing out the
transvestigated
quote-unquote
by People like JQ Rowling.
Imagine being obsessed over the gender of trains.
Bulge, while not realizing that that is not a penis.
I'm sure
that's
there
a
are
mons
people who
penis,
are.
you fucking moron. Which all women have. Vaginas aren't perfectly flat, and I feel like it's kind of embarrassing that he doesn't know that. And second of all, if you look closely, you'll see that this is not even a real human being. It is clearly AI, but this person was so fixated on her genitalia that he missed the fact
you trans
that it wasn't
folks are
even a
creepy
real picture.
perverts.
Yeah, because
But that's
You're
not
more
all,
creepy
because even if
perverts
you
than
don't
perverts
have a
in anime
particularly
like me.
large mons pubis, you gotta make sure that you express your femininity at all times. Never ever
You
forget
want to see
that
tentacle
you
rape
have to
everywhere.
play up
I
this feminine
do.
caricature
You
that
don't
the
believe in
trans
consent
investigators
like
want,
we do.
otherwise they're going to be suspicious of you. For example, Lindsay Hanna shared her
don't
traumatic
like base
experience
women
in a
like
bathroom
Ayaka and
airport,
Light
saying,
Blossom
at a
Summer.
loss for people right now. This morning while at the airport, I was washing my hands in the bathroom and this woman is staring at me and shouts, and I do mean shout, "You're disgusting." I look at her and then dry my hands and just walk out. She immediately is coming out after me and now into the open with all the gates and many people around, and again shouting that I am disgusting for being in the women's bathroom and how it is for women. At this point, people are really staring and it is so embarrassing. My gate is right
I mean,
there.
she should be the one embarrassed, not you. She's the one making a fool of herself.
And we are boarding soon. I
Exactly.
calmly say, I have alopecia, I am a woman, but just don't have hair. She backs away and says, whatever, just get away. Just absolute tears this morning. I don't even know what to say. I am sad, mad, embarrassed, heartbroken, and just a lot of feelings. I always try to see the good in people and extend grace, but I'm finding it really hard right now. Yeah, I mean, downright despicable.
Mind your
But
business,
this is not
Karen.
the first time something like this has happened. In fact,
Exactly.
these types of
It's
events
not
are
that
becoming
hard.
increasingly
It's very
common
easy for us.
since society is
Get
becoming more
bent.
transphobic. It happens to cis women with pixie haircuts. It happens to cis
Imagine
girls
obsessing
with
over
short
people going
hair
to the
whose parents
bathroom.
have been accused of genital
I
mutilation.
can't imagine that.
I mean,
Maybe
it's
they're
just-
like one of
it's
those creepy
common, it's
sexual
widespread,
perverts in
but
Japan that like to
even
film women
the
going to the
people
bathroom.
who
By the way,
become the
that's an
victims
actual
of transvestigation.
porn kink in Japan. Filming women go to the bathroom. I'm not joking.
Sometimes
for
end up
fuck's
playing into these
sake.
tropes
Along with
themselves.
groping them in the
I say
trains,
this because
remember?
After her post went
Yeah,
viral,
I remember
Lindsay
that
also
one.
talked about how she was transvestigated again before, and somebody confronted her saying, "You're the problem with sports. Men should not be claiming to be female and competing with them when they're male." And she later adds, "And yes, I 100% agree. Males should not be playing against females. It is called alopecia. The pure ignorance of people is mind-blowing." And I think that she believes throwing trans women under a bus will save cis
Well,
women,
she believes
but it
that-
just doesn't
she
work that
believes
way.
that, like, trans
As
women
J.K.
are
Rowling has taught
invading
us, you will
cis
never
women's
be able to
space, but
provide
by
these
cis
people with
you mean
enough
minority
proof that you are
women.
sufficiently woman enough for them, because they want to enforce strict gender norms on everyone, including cis women.
Sounds like your guys
So
are
if you don't check
are
every single box
supporting,
and you
dare
dare
I
to
say,
deviate even
the
slightly
patriarchy.
from gender stereotypes, they're going to be suspicious of you too. Women working
because
jobs and well
they
paid.
realize that.
Oh! I wonder how JQ Rowling would feel about that one.
That was once very
She'll
contentious.
she'll be
Not to
mad
mention
and
how
try to
cis
call you a
lesbians
woman.
weren't accepted into feminist circles since they also weren't thought
I mean,
to
my
be
man tits are
real
probably
women.
bigger than her tits,
It's
so
an
there you
antiquated
go.
way of thinking that hurts both cis and trans women. But while this hysteria, it often
She'll be
traumatizes
as
cis
angry
women,
as
of
a
course.
pig when seeing
Statistically, there's more
gold
cis
being
women than there
mined.
are trans women. It often gets trans women
Yep.
killed. And we can't forget about that,
And she'll
right?
snort like
so
them.
shame on all the people like J.K. Rowling for using her platform to foster this kind of hateful environment, because it's not just traumatizing cis women. This
You open
paranoia
that chest, I
about
will
trans
kill
people
you.
and trans women and their
It's
bodies,
about,
it gets them
it's
killed. It
about
instigates
demonizing women, all women, and especially minority women, because she's a turf neo-Nazi.
And a
violence
racist.
against them. But she doesn't care.
Like
That's
I
what
said,
she wants,
turf
actually.
neo-Nazi.
And she's
The
ugly,
racists
too.
try to go with it.
Transvestigations obviously stem from this
Ugly
idea that if you can
Karen
out someone for being
cunt.
trans, you can make a judgment
Exactly.
about their self-worth and determine
Brett
the level of
Allcroft
threat
looked
that they
better than
pose
you,
to cis
20
women.
years older.
But trans women are women,
Yep.
and they just want to live their lives like everyone else. And contrary to popular belief, they pose no threat to cis women. In fact, they are 4 times as
Exactly.
likely to be victims of sexual abuse. So the only way
My
to protect
feelings
all women
over
is to
facts.
protect both cis
Meh.
and trans women.
Exactly.
Like
And
Benny
J.K.
Boy always
Rowling
tells me.
might think
Yep.
that she's only hurting trans women, but she's hurting all women. cis
I
women too.
love
And I hope that
harassing
Barbara
women,
Banda
like
follows
in
Imani
anime.
Craig's lead
Yes,
here and sues the
because she's a
shit
turf
out of J.K. Rowling,
neo-Nazi.
because if she refuses to stop being
Just
a
like,
bigoted
I
piece
wanna
of shit,
harass
I
Diesels
think that
and
she
Thomas
deserves at
every
least
day.
some accountability. A small payday isn't going to reverse the trauma that J.K. Rowling is causing in all of these women, but I think that her transphobia and misogynoir cannot go
I wanna call 'em
unchallenged. So I hope
dirty
that Banda
Diesels.
does what Imani Khalif did. Get that payday.
Oh my god, what a fucking carrot cut JKQ
No.
all it is. So, what do you gotta say about that? Harassing another
Oh.
athlete again.
That's all she can do. That's all she can do anymore. Because again, only white women can be women according to JQ Rowling.
Shouldn't you be making...
If you're not a white woman, you're not a real woman, and therefore you're a man.
Hey, JQ Rowling, here's an idea. Go on Manga Maker Kamapo, buy it on Steam, and make a manga series. And then you'll finally realize, oh, I can actually be making a story for once in my life instead of worrying about trans people. Or maybe make the new Harry Potter. But I guess you have no skills like I do.
I also know, dude, at the rate she's going, the Super Carlin brothers are going to do their own fan-made Harry Potter Marauders series before she touches anything Harry Potter.
Man, imagine if My Blossom Summer becomes into a web series. And she does
That'd be
nothing
cool.
still. Man, I wonder how conservatives would feel when they see the progressive Christian Fundie Ayaka.
Yeah.
They're going to be so triggered and confused.
Yep.
Alright, so now, on to the next topic.
And that'll be... Trump wants to make it a global American imperialist terrorist organization state.
And of course, dipshit MAGA supports it even though they claim he's
Love
anti-war. So, of course,
because they live in the fucking Twilight Zone.
Of course, what are we talking about? Well, of course, since Trump got elected, he's been talking about, like, the last several weeks how he brought back how he wants to buy Greenland again, even though Denmark says no. He made jokes about Canada becoming the 51st state, which is concerning. He once again keeps talking about plans to invade Mexico, again, like he wanted to do in his first term. Now he wants to try and take back the Panama Canal again. And then, of course, you have idiots like Jack Posobiec as and wokeness doing a GIF.
Remember, Jack Probiotic is his name.
Yep, he did a tweet where he said, America should look like this for its 250th B-Day. And I'm trying to remember, it was America had Canada, Mexico, Dominican Republic, Cuba, all of Cuba, not just Gitmo, Iceland randomly. Why Iceland? It's part of Europe. Greenland, of course, Panama Canal, the Philippines again, you want to take them back over. And like just want to do an American empire, which is the exact opposite of what they claim, and also not based. Very evil. We don't do that anymore, people. We're not like the Europeans. We need to get with the times. But of course, these freakos who are violent and evil, they keep exposing themselves.
Solid savages.
Yep, so let's watch Kyle make fun of these idiots once again with no effort.
All right, welcome to the show, everybody.
Kyle, what'd I say about your intro?
AOC, you guys all know she just
2 minutes in.
Out massively.
Still 2.5 minutes in.
I've never had a
Kyle,
I do think
finally
almost
3 minutes
that
in.
He was just kidding. Right.
Goodness.
There were a few things he said where it's like,
Kyle,
even
you
for
get
Trump,
longer and longer each
that
time I
seems
watch
like
this.
he's just, doing this for shits and giggles, laughing about it. I'm
Jesus,
thinking,
a
of course,
quarter of the
about
video was his intro.
making Canada the 51st state.
I think at this point he should
like
just
he
make...
was saying that, and everybody's like, haha.
Genuinely, Kyle, make the intro a separate video.
Oh, God, come
Make
on.
the intro a separate bloody video.
Stop being lazy.
Soon it's gonna... Yeah, just make the intro an entire video onto itself.
He okay, that's cute, but you don't actually mean that. But now he keeps adding stuff to the list, right? And it's getting kind of squirrely here. So here's one of the things he said the other day. I am pleased to announce Ken Howry as my choice for United States Ambassador to the Kingdom of Denmark. Ken is a world-renowned entrepreneur, investor, and public servant who served our nation brilliantly during my first term as U.S. Ambassador to Sweden, where he led efforts to increase defense, security, and economic cooperation between our countries. As a co-founder,
I would say Russia's more to blame, because of that.
PayPal and venture capital fund. I love how he picks these like venture capitalist snakes and acts like it's a good thing. Founders Fund, Ken turned American innovation and tech leadership into global success stories, blah, blah, blah. The United States of America feels that the ownership and control of Greenland is an absolute necessity.
Sorry, Trump. Denmark says no. And you go, okay.
Exactly.
Ken will do a wonderful job representing the interests of the United States. Thank you, Ken, and congratulations. Let me repeat that.
So fuck
The
off.
United States of America feels that the ownership
forward.
and control of Greenland
That's
is
my
an absolute
advice.
necessity.
You're not
So he's saying this
welcome.
about Greenland. If you don't remember, there was a scandal during his first term where he floated this idea of like the U.S. should buy Greenland.
And they
It should
said
become
no
part of
then
our
too,
country. There
pal.
was
So
a
fuck
scandal
off.
in the first term where he said that. And now it didn't happen.
No,
But now he's
all of them
bringing
are
this back up, and he's
no.
doing it
No,
at the
no,
same
no,
time
no.
that we get this. As I said, he joked about Canada becoming the 51st state.
Which the right
Now
wants so
Trump
badly
has
like
made a
Hinkleberg.
point in all of his
They
speeches
want the
talk-
whole, everyone of them want the whole world to be America.
about invading Mexico. In fact, his America Fest speech, the TPUSA speech, that was one of the heavy things he focused
They
on.
want to finish off
was
the Mexican-American
invading Mexico.
War, too, along with the War of
So,
1812
Canada,
for
the 51st
Canada.
state,
They do.
casually talking
And
about legit
they want a war against every country on the planet.
war with Mexico.
They want,
And then he also-
across the entire planet, the only country will be America.
Look, you can do that in Age of History free, but let's not do that in the real life, even if we have the capabilities to do
Exactly.
so. Let's,
They think they're the world's video game, though. That's the problem.
Here's the thing, though. They'll never be good at Age of History free like me.
Got into a fight recently about the Panama Canal. I don't know if you guys saw.
You know I knew, right?
Yes.
The native people, like, in northern Japan, like, they're Native Americans.
Yeah.
What if I told you the other day for New Year's Eve, I played Age of History free 14 hours straight from noon till, like, 3 in the morning of this year. And I did a new game as...
Wow.
And I did a new game as Ainu. I played 300 years, and I've pretty much made him into a world superpower that controls almost all of Asia already.
Awesome.
Saw this.
Wow.
But he was out there saying, look,
That's incredible.
I've been at war with, like, all of the world for 100 years, and they still can't stop me.
built it. It's ours. It was given away. It should have never been given away. And
Imagine not being able to crush,
we're
like,
gonna make it the United
200,000
States
Ainu
again.
troops.
And he's tweeted multiple times
Yeah.
They're getting
indicating
murked every time we fight because I'm so
this
technologically
is gonna
advanced.
be-
Imagine having 20th century weapons in the 1700s.
Oh,
the United
jeez.
States Canal.
Hey, remember my Papal States game? I had nuclear weapons in the 1820s,
Yeah.
Not the
and
Panama
I
Canal
killed
anymore.
almost all the
And
British.
the government of Panama responded and
Oh,
said, "This is not." No.
remember that what they've done with Gandhi now. That prior to him getting nuclear weapons, he's fine. He's good. He's passive. He won't do anything. And then he becomes an absolute genocidal
Yep,
maniac.
Civilization
once
1.
Yeah.
And they kept it going in all the other games as a joke.
No,
Yep.
no.
You need to
Every
play
inch of
Civilization
this
with
belongs
me.
to Panama. And Trump is like, "That's cute. No, it's ours."
Right, no.
Look, like I said, I
It's
ignored
not
it at
really
first. Like the
my,
Canada thing.
thing. It's more like brothers than mine.
Then maybe he needs
I
to
think
play with
it is
me.
because
Seb's fun, except
Okay,
sex.
even Trump is joking when he says something like that, right? He's joking. He's joking when he says it. But then he says it again, and he says it again, and he talks about invading Mexico, and he talks about stealing the Panama Canal, and he talks about buying Greenland, and then you get his little minion accounts, who, by the way,
Yep, there's
End
the-
Wokeness
and
is run by
Wokeness, the
Jack
tweet I was
Posobiec.
talking
Jack
about.
Posobiec is a big-time player in Republican politics at the elite level. So Jack Posobiec comes out and says, we have 2 years left to bring this map to life in time for our 250th
Oh yeah,
birthday.
now I remember
Look at
this map because it included areas I don't remember. The Faroe Islands, which are islands like above the UK, which I think are actually part of Denmark. So again, invading Denmark, a NATO ally. They want to take over Nicaragua. I'm saying it wrong and all that.
What?
Yeah, Nicaragua.
Wow.
Yeah, and for some reason I don't know why they want to take over parts of Sicily.
Sicily.
Why do you want to invade Italy for? Like, at least some of these, either America used to have them or part of, like, in North America. That makes sense, but why Sicily? That's so
I
random.
have no idea.
So, let's see. How many NATO allies do you want to take over, invade? Canada, Italy,
They want to literally
Iceland,
take. They want to
Denmark.
literally take over the entire planet.
Yep, like an Age of History free. But, oh yeah, and for some reason on their map, they also split up a whole bunch of states and made them smaller, too. Like Texas.
Why?
Texas is split up like in 5 states now. Oklahoma split into 2. Or California splitting. No, California split in two, and then they got all of Baja California. Oregon, Washington, Idaho, all split up. The Dakotas, Wyoming, all split up. West Virginia's gotten parts of Kentucky and Pennsylvania and parts of my state, so fuck off. God, what is with your
what he's
borders?
saying is all of Canada.
This is some terrible border gore.
It's their wet dream.
Again, can you all go fuck off?
Cuba, taking Cuba.
Go
and
play on
making it part
Ancient
of the United
History
States
Free
of
if you want to do
America.
this, and then you'll fail because you suck at the game,
Parts of
unlike
Mexico,
me.
as you can see. So,
assuming they even get
Ben
into
Norton
the
says,
game.
the far right and wokeness
They wouldn't even know how to buy
which
it on
is constantly
Steam.
promoted by the billionaire oligarch owner of this website, Elon Musk, wants the U.S. empire to expand and colonize Mexico, Canada, Cuba, Nicaragua, and the Dominican Republic. And again, Greenland is on the table as well now. He keeps bringing that up. Bro, I understand Trump is crazy. I understand he says wacky things. I understand this is like
I know
part
he
of the
has
deal.
no
Hello,
fucking
Stinky.
idea what he's talking
But
about because he's a
it was like-
moron.
Again, just because you want to play Ancient History Free does not mean you can do that in real life, pal.
7.5 minutes ago,
Exactly.
Trump and all of his little MAGA sycophants
Stick to the
were
game and then be mad at you'll never
Kamala
be as good as
Harris
me.
and Liz Cheney and saying, they're warmongers. They're warmongers. They never met a war they didn't like. They love war. They love
Imagine
war.
rebuilding Mongolian
So it
Empire
went
like I'm
from,
doing another game too.
This is the anti-war candidate to, hey, wouldn't it be great if
I've
we
already
annexed
crushed
and
China.
stole parts of Mexico and Canada and Cuba and Nicaragua and the Dominican Republic and Greenland and the Panama Canal? And look, are they going to actually try to do that for? No, right? I mean, overwhelmingly likely.
Well, try
they won't.
Mexico.
But is Trump crazy enough to try it with certain places?
Yes.
In certain ways?
Yes, he is.
Right? Is he crazy enough to
And he
actually
can go
try to do
fuck
something
off.
vis-a-vis Greenland?
There you go,
Is he crazy enough
forward.
to actually say,
And all
no,
you dipshit MAGA fuckers who said you vote for because he's anti-war, you're gonna flip on a dime in an instant because we know you're a bunch of lying morons.
Yep.
Panama Canal is ours and we just deployed our troops and now we're occupying it.
Anti-war, quote-unquote, lefties are actually pro-war.
Because they're morons too.
You can piss off about it.
Yeah.
That's the thing is like, now we have to have these conversations. Now we have to ask these questions. So it comes full circle to another I told you so, where it's like, everybody should have been pointing out every step of the way how this guy is not anti-war.
We did.
He's not anti-war. He's never been anti-war.
did, Kyle.
He's incredibly pro-war. He
You
is a
did,
neocon
Kyle.
warmonger. That's what his record showed
It's
last
just
time he was
morons
in there.
refuse to listen.
This time, most of the time he talked about foreign
Exactly.
policy, it would be from the context of, we're going to bomb more shit, right? We're gonna side with Israel as they do a genocide in Gaza. We're gonna
fuck over
we're
the
gonna
Ukrainians.
watch as Israel attacks Iranian
We're
nuclear
gonna let
facilities.
China
There was a lot of
invade
pro-war stuff said
Taiwan.
this time, but every time he bothered
Exactly.
to utter
Let's
let
anything
North
anti-war,
Korea murder
everybody should
all
have
of
been there
South
at
Korea.
that point in time to
And
say,
then they'll get
this is
crushed
bullshit.
by South
He doesn't
Korea's
mean
might.
it. His record was pro-war, and now the mask comes off yet again, right? So again, do I think he's actually, like, we're actually gonna expand the empire to this extent? No.
I mean,
But-
you're going after. You're going to attack.
It's going to be like every single country on the planet. We know that.
Yep. And of course, 3 of these countries are part of NATO, so in theory, if we attacked Canada, Italy, and 4 countries, Denmark and Iceland as well, I would see them bring in Article 5 to fight in all of Europe as well. Yeah, that would be really smart to let Putler do whatever he wants in Europe. That would be really smart. You fucking moron.
Will some of this stuff maybe happen?
Because you're a bunch
Some,
of idiots.
Pro-war,
Yep, they love
totally
how
unethical
I know
and
how
immoral
stupid
and
they are.
illegal
They think
moves
Asia
made
history free
by the
is
United
real
States
life.
to try to reassert
Of course
dominance.
they do.
I think that's very
And
possible.
then they're
It's
jealous
not
they're not good like me.
because you know that they're
They're jealous
freaking
I
out
made
about
the Pope into a
BRICS,
superpower.
and they're freaking out about
They're jealous. You're
China
able to, they're
and
jealous. You're able
how-
to turn any state into a superpower.
Oh, that reminds me. Last night, I started a new game as the weakest country in the game, which is a Native American group in Arizona with like 1,800 pops. I'm going to make them into a superpower. Just you wait, people, and you're all going to be
Wait.
jealous.
That'll be awesome.
I already did with a South American tribe and have almost all of South America under my control in like 300 years.
They've
Nice.
made moves on the global chessboard within
Maybe I
the
should do
past
an
decade
Aboriginal
that,
group in the future and unite all of
show that
Australia
they're
under
a rising
Aboriginals.
power.
And then,
Go
the
for it.
racists
Trump
down there will
is-
be mad
I
at
mean,
me.
he's a naked imperialist, right? This is why he
That'd be
says,
good.
yeah, we took the oil. We should have taken the oil
Maybe
from
the
Iraq.
Maori
We should have
New
taken the oil.
Zealand.
To the victor go the spoils, right? To the victor
can
goes.
work
We should have
too.
taken the oil in Iraq.
Oh, I remind you too. I'm doing a game as Hawaii as well. I have almost all of Mexico taken over in 100 years.
And we're in Syria. And we're taking the oil. We're
Nice.
taking the
And I'm
oil
starting
from Syria.
colonizing Australia, so you
this
can
guy,
be mad at
the
your
thing about Trump
Polynesian
is
soon.
he's a naked imperialist.
Oh boy.
He doesn't do the song and dance. He doesn't do the human rights and international law stuff. He doesn't say. He just goes right to, no, we're gonna do the illegal thing and we're gonna steal the natural resources and you can shut the fuck up because we're the most powerful and we have the bigger
How
army.
about you shut the
That's
fuck
his
up and
actual
fuck
opinion.
off and leave people alone,
Exactly.
That's
pal?
what his actual politics are. It's not anti-war.
Exactly.
It's never been anti-war.
Good,
And
smart
this
idea to
shows
weaken
that,
America,
like, I'm
pal.
trying to
Invade
imagine-
neighbors.
flip the scenario for just
You're
a
part of
second.
NATO as well.
Imagine Kamala Harris won.
Exactly.
And Kamala Harris
Oh yeah, and here's one thing people can't deny. Did Biden or Kamala say anything about this stuff?
No.
Oh, they did not.
Because-
They pretend that they did, but
They-
they never. They or use like
Or at least
vaguely similar things to be like, they talked about it, they read it about it for hours on end. We're
I don't hear-
stuff.
I never heard-
because we're morons.
I never heard Kamala or Biden say about like invading Mexico and Canada and all that. It's only Trumpsters.
Started talking about the shit that Trump was
Exactly.
talking about.
Because you guys are violent.
Oh, we're gonna buy Greenland. Oh, actually,
Imperialists.
you know what?
Yes,
Panama.
exactly.
Sorry,
That's
the
why you
Panama
love
Canal's
Pootler and
ours. You
Pooh
can
Bear
shut
Jim
up.
so
Generous.
much.
Right? Or
Yep.
1/10 of what Trump said. Everybody on the right would say she's an imperialist, she's a warmonger, she's
Yeah,
unhinged.
and Kamala, and
Why
since
are we
we're
even
being
having these
imperialists,
conversations?
but you
You're
guys
basically
are the imperialists and you
threatening
deny
other
it because you're a bunch
countries.
of
Yep,
morons.
But Trump says it, and boom, I told
Oh,
you.
morons.
What does MAGA do? On a
I know
dime,
you're jealous
they
you're
flip
not good at
from,
Asian history
our guy's
free, but
the
don't
anti-war
take it out on
candidate
everyone
to,
else.
Yeah, he's threatening to make imperialism great
Imagine
again
being bad
and make
at
it be
Asian
steal more
history
territory.
free.
But that's based, and we like it because we like him.
Yeah.
So I told you, they will go wherever their
Papal States was my
overlord
very first
daddy
game
wants
I
them to
played,
go.
and I
this
made
is
him into a
classic
superpower. You saw my
example of it
score. I
here.
was like
And
4
yet
times
again,
stronger than
Yeah,
everyone
that's
else.
Square one, where it's
Yeah, that
super
was bloody
unhinged Trump, and we
insane.
don't know what's real, what's fake, what's a joke, what's not. You know what the actual plan is moving forward. But one of the things I
made
fear
the
for
Pope and
sure
Christianity
is one of the things
strong.
they are dead serious
Not like
about
they could.
is invading Mexico, declaring the cartels terrorist organizations, and
Now
invading
imagine
Mexico
I
and
could
drone
control
striking
them.
it, maybe doing special forces.
Oh, they
attacks.
would be mad.
Like there's a lot of
that
very
Christian
pro-war,
fundamentalist
very
progressive
disastrous,
girl.
very disturbing things that are
Yeah.
on the agenda that they're now leaning into more, and so the rhetoric is getting worse and worse. And this is
Oh,
a great
my
example
love
of it
for
right here.
Hideo-kun.
Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe.
Fucking morons. So yeah, we gotta
That's
say
right.
about we gotta say about MAGA fuckers being imperialists as always.
No surprise. Well, that's the thing. Like you know that you always see the just slip a little bit whenever they talk about Mexico, and that's what they really feel like about the entire fucking planet.
Oh my god. Fucking morons as always. Violent, evil
Yep,
imperialists. Again,
Violent savages.
stick to Asia history free people, not in real life. Which is why you and everyone else need to get Asia history free. It's that good. Especially a multiplayer DLC coming out in the very future, so we can do multiplayer. Yay! Take over the world.
Okay.
So now, on to the next topic.
Second last one. Republicans will never accept gay Republicans. I almost said grey Republicans.
How many times have we been saying this for like the last 20 years?
Probably a million times.
That might be an undercount.
Yeah.
So
That's what we always do.
So yeah, once again, another gay Republican group is mad that Republicans don't like them. In other words, water's wet. Of course they're never going to like you. We tell you that for decades now, but you still refuse to accept it.
You. They don't like you if you're any type of minority.
Let's see, Rave Dubin, Caitlyn Jenner,
Yep.
what other person? When are y'all going to get for their
Claire
heads that they'll never
White.
support you?
Jesse Lee Peterson.
Oh yeah. You may not like us, but we respect you for who you are. That's why you should always vote for
Exactly.
us, because
Yeah.
we'll actually support policies that support you, unlike the Republicans. So, let's see
Exactly.
Mike's video on this.
I really feel like there should be more effort put into studying the brains of LGBTQ plus Republicans, because these people are told again and again that they are not welcome in the GOP, but still they keep coming back again and
Because
again
they're
and again.
morons.
It's like they're
Maybe
masochists.
masochistic.
Yeah,
And
because
part of the problem is that they probably
they're
actually
probably
believe that they can
masochistic.
convince some Republicans that they're one of
Yeah,
the good ones.
yeah, they
but at the end of
definitely
the
are.
day, they're always reminded that they will never be accepted unless they completely swear off their supposedly sinful lifestyle. For example, this popular gay Republican account on Twitter shared this post from the New York Log Cabin Republicans comparing a gay Republican to a gay Democrat with the caption saying, "We are not the same." Now, putting aside the obvious transphobia here, what he's doing is obvious. He's
the
trying
Republican
to prime
gay
his
looks like the straightest motherfucker in the world, for crying out loud, pal.
Republican followers to think cis conservative gays are traditionally masculine and alpha, just like straight guys.
Only progressives
and thus, they're
are
not so different after all.
masculine
Except
alpha
you don't have to go too far into the comment section to see them reject that premise
More
entirely.
alpha than
You
the
are both
beta conservatives.
degenerate
remember
scum.
that multiple of your red pill alpha guys are actually literal cuckolds.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you are heading to hell if you don't repent. Unless you repent and turn away from sodomy, you both will be ending up in hell. Yes, you are. Repent now. You need to stop this lifestyle to be saved. Christ welcomes the prodigal son with...
Hey, buddies, would you like to meet Ayaka Hidaka, the progressive fundamentalist Christian girl in My Blasphemous Summer who supports LGBT rights? How about that one?
Open arms. There's more, but...
I know exactly what she'd do.
Wanna...
They'd call her a tranny and try to rape her, and then she'd beat them up with a Bible.
And of course they think, and since she's Japanese, they're gonna assume she's submissive.
Yeah, they're gonna get the big surprise when they cop a big thick Bible to the face.
Just wait till volume 2.
Turn to Exhibit B. Mikey Gilby, a gay conservative who shares transphobic comments insinuating that homosexuality is perfectly legitimate and normal, whereas being trans is not.
Trans is just as legitimate and normal as being gay. People
Exactly,
get it for your head. There's nothing
And
wrong with being trans.
same with liking people of other races, which we know most of these conservatives hate as well. But they're going to be a little more secretive about it in most states.
This Michigan state lawmaker,
Most
who's
being the operative word.
also transphobic, but it turns out he's coming for the gays too, and tweeted, "Make gay marriage illegal again. This is not
How about no?
Nor extreme."
How about no?
Now,
But
Gilby
we also know it's
responded to-
not just gay marriage I want to outlaw, it's also interracial.
Also, you cunt, gay marriage is legal in our state constitution along with abortion rights, so go fuck off. States' rights for me, remember? Ha 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 ha.
Yep,
That's
I
saying,
remember that.
bro, I voted for you. Get rid of income taxes and we can talk. Otherwise, this is unfair to consenting adults. Why is the government involved in marriage at all is the real question we should be asking.
Because they
Well,
don't
Gilby, I
like
can
you
answer
for
that.
who you
It's because
are,
there more
pal,
than
like we keep
1,000
telling you for
federal
like 20
benefits that come with
years.
marriage,
Exactly.
including tax deductions,
How many times we have to
inheritance
explain this
rights,
to people?
SSI, Medicaid, and so on and so forth.
They don't
They'll
like
never learn
you for
because they're self-loathing morons.
They will never like you, so why vote for them? I would never vote for a party that hates cis white men. Oh, of course Republicans think that's what Democrats are, but they're not because you're a bunch of morons.
The real question you should be asking is why you would vote for a transphobic, Christian nationalist, great replacement conspiracy theory supporting Republican when there's a pretty good chance
Replace
that
the word
he's going to
nationalist
be
with
against your
Nazi
base.
because that's what they are. If they believe in the white genocide conspiracy theory, they're Nazis.
And here's another thing too. If you support the Republicans because you support like it's usually like conservative economic policies. Guess what? The Democrats do your conservative policies. So
Yep,
vote for them.
exactly.
At least
And
we
they're
will
not Nazis.
Yeah, and we won't hate you for being who you are. We don't want to take away your rights like Republicans do. So you get your conservative economic policies while still being treated as a person. So how about that one?
Yep. Exactly.
Questions we have to ask ourselves. But to be fair to Gilby, it's not just cis gay Republicans who do this shit, it's trans Republicans as well. Take Caitlyn Jenner, for example. Back on Thanksgiving, she made a fairly standard tweet about Thanksgiving and even gave a little bit of a nod to Trump's electoral victory. And she's tried so hard to ingratiate herself with MAGA, bless her heart. But as you can see from the very first response, she was dead named and told to find God and stop LARPing as a woman.
Caitlyn, how many
and
times
are
we going to explain to you they don't like you, they never will. You fucking moron.
Thanksgiving while dead naming her and sharing a national Lampoon's meme.
It's
So, I mean, she's
Caitlyn,
reminded
pals,
again and again,
not Bruce.
they don't like her, but she keeps coming back
Yeah.
for more. But to be fair, the hate for her was less prevalent than it was for the gay conservatives, since she mostly avoided politics. But any tweet where she invokes her trans identity or trans people in general, even if she's attacking them, is much more vitriolic. If she's featured on Fox News,
Yeah,
for
Caitlyn,
example,
because they'll never
regardless
treat you
if
right
she's
ever.
brought on to talk about something
We've
that doesn't
covered
involve
how many
trans
times
rights,
about this topic?
many of the
They will
commenters
never
will
respect
misgender
you,
her
so
and
stop
dead name her.
supporting them.
So it's puzzling to see
Fucking
so many
moron.
queer people aligned with a movement that routinely subjects
They
them
go
to
for you,
this
Rave
kind of
Dubin.
fucking abuse. And to be clear, I don't want to overstate
And of
the
course,
size of
White,
gay queers.
Jesse Lee Peterson, and all them.
And Blair White too,
because this is a comparatively tiny portion of the LGBTQ plus community. In fact, as this NBC News headline points out, Trump predictably lost ground with LGBTQ plus voters after more than a quarter of the community voted for him in 2020.
You're all a bunch of fucking idiots. You're all that 27% of you vote for Trump in 2020. You're all a bunch of fucking morons. Fucking stupid. But of course, I'm not surprised Trump lost 15 points on LGBT groups from 2020 because he's homophobic.
This time, only 12% of people who identify as LGBTQ voted for Donald Trump. So it is good to see less people vote against their own self-interest, but having said that, 12% is still higher than it should be. But I understand that you're never going to have complete uniformity in any community.
It should be zero. Zero LGBT people should be voting for Republicans, ever.
And queer people, like all people, aren't a monolith. But sometimes things are so obvious that there really shouldn't be much disagreement.
Yeah,
I mean,
no
if
shit, Mike.
There was a poll, and it found that 99% of gay men oppose sticking their balls in a toaster and turning it on. I would expect that result, but I'd still be a little bit curious about the 1% who said...
the people who are so far in the closet they're having gay orgies in Narnia.
Or they're masochists and think it's kinky to do that to a toaster.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, were they joking, or do they genuinely think it's a good idea?
Toasters must consent.
I'm obviously
like
being
couches.
hyperbolic, of course, but the point
JD
is,
Vance.
supporting the Republican Party, if you're gay,
exactly.
is obviously a bad idea. It's nearly as bad of an idea as sticking your balls in a toaster. Nevertheless, gay Republicans still exist, perhaps because their financial or white identitarian interests align more closely with the GOP.
Or
to the
make it
extent
simple,
that they do
you guys
exist,
are
some gay
morons.
Republicans who are active in the party have taken on the Sisyphusian task of making the party more accepting. But as Dale Carpenter put it, they failed. He's a gay Republican in Texas who spent decades trying to reform the party, only to admit that it just couldn't be done. And the reason why it can't be done is because queers make up like 0.001% of the party, whereas white evangelicals make up almost a third of the party. So they're not going to accept 0.001% of the party when their very existence is antithetical to one of their most loyal voting blocs. It's basic math. So what usually happens is elected Republicans try to blend in and acquiesce by remaining perpetually celibate. Lindsey Graham. Or they'll adopt anti-trans policies to try to satiate the demand for anti-LGBTQ plus policies in hopes that if they sacrifice their trans siblings to the GOP, then maybe that'll spare them, but it won't, right? Very few Republicans, though, actually try to confront the party's bigotry head on. Like, we're talking about elected Republicans. They know that's a pretty bad idea, and if they're going to be tolerated in the party, they should probably know their place. But if they do try to challenge the party, it never, ever turns out well for them. And Missouri's Chris Sander, a gay Republican elected in 2020 to represent the state's 33rd district, is the perfect representation of that. K Kerr reports, quote, Sander isn't a moderate Republican. He is a staunch supporter of Donald Trump who only strayed from the party on transgender rights. His site also touts a 100% rating from the Conservative Political Action Conference in 2022. It dropped to 87% in 2023 because of his votes against anti-trans bills. It says Sander is proudly pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, and pro-small business. It says he stands against boys and girls sports and transgender therapy for minors. Now, let's pause for a moment because we are kind of getting a little bit of a contradiction here. On one hand, he said that he's against trans people in sports and he's against gender-affirming healthcare for minors, yet he voted against it. So, did he have a change of heart? Well, the answer is no. He was seemingly against those bills, not because they were transphobic, but because he thought that they were bad bills that needed amendments, but his own party wouldn't let him offer any. And to make matters worse, he was a bit pissed off because he wasn't even allowed to talk about the bills, even though other legislators were given the opportunity to do just that. So he kind of felt singled out. And he says he voted on every single bill that he wasn't allowed to speak on, which happened to be all of the anti-trans bills that they were considering at the time. But their treatment of him was pretty unsurprising considering the experience that he had leading up to that point. Like, if he says, oh my God, they wouldn't even let me speak. Well, when we learn about how he was treated when he got elected, it's bad. Kerr continues, but as soon as he joined the legislature in January of 2021, Sander ran into trouble. Sander remembers receiving a package in the mail from a former state legislator. Inside was a book called Changed, touting the success of conversion therapy.
Conversion therapy doesn't work, people.
It does not work. It never works.
It kind of separated me from everybody else in the legislature because they noticed something was different, Sander said. But I considered that whole event, scenario, conversations, the book, all that is like bullying. Yeah, no shit. Sanders wrangled other state Republicans during his unsuccessful attempts to change the language of the Missouri Constitution to recognize that marriage is between two individuals, as with same-sex marriage, instead of between a man and a woman. Its current language. The U.S. Supreme Court's 2015 decision in Obergefell v. Hodges legalized same-sex marriage nationally, superseding Missouri's ban. Sander first introduced the bill in 2022. He reintroduced it again for the 2023 legislative session after President Joe Biden signed the Respect for Marriage Act, which codifies same-sex marriage and interracial marriage. In response, the Jackson County Republican Party considered a resolution to censure Sander as a punishment, though it ultimately failed.
See what I mean,
he says in all the 4 years...
They tried to censure you. Like, come on. Like, can't this be a lesson that they will never support you ever? It's not that hard to understand.
Here's there. I feel more welcome and I feel more accepted by colleagues who are Democrats, Sanders said. I've been given handwritten notes by Democrats who say, we see what you're doing, we see who you are, we appreciate how you represent a group that is not represented in the party. So from day one, they made it abundantly clear that they wanted nothing to do with this man. And his votes against those anti-trans bills, regardless of his reasoning, was evidence to them that he wasn't a real Republican. He wasn't one of them. He already wasn't one of them. They were looking for reasons to hate him because he's gay, and then he gave them ammunition, right? And just so you have some additional context, he lives in a district that is so red that Democrats don't even bother to run a challenger most of the time. So I don't know how he pulled that off. You know, I would suspect that he didn't talk about his sexual orientation much when he was running. But when he finally got a Republican primary opponent, guess what happened? She beat him. And she won after running against, you guessed it, his opposition to those anti-trans bills. And it is crazy because this dude has been ride or die for MAGA since day one. He voted for Trump in 2016 and 2020, and I'm assuming 2024, and he supported Republican Senate candidates like Josh Hawley. But the one thing that separates him from the other Republicans is his sexual orientation. And he flew a little bit too close to the sun by trying to shove his gay agenda down their throats by daring to ask for basic human rights. Oh, and he wasn't sufficiently transphobic enough. But even if he was, it probably wouldn't have made a big difference anyway, because I think they were looking for reasons to kick him to the curb since he pushed for gay rights pretty explicitly. And I say this because in District 105, there was another gay Republican lawmaker named Phil Christofanelli who also challenged his own party. In fact, he actually went viral for making one of his GOP colleagues look stupid in response to a Don't Say Gay bill that she introduced.
I remember that because we covered this. I saw this bill before.
I remember that.
In your bill. No classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties relating to sexual orientation or gender identity shall occur. Lady, you mentioned George Washington. Who is Martha Washington?
His wife.
Under your bill, how could you mention that in a classroom?
So to me, that's not sexual orientation.
It is.
Really?
It is.
So
She's
it's only
married to Washington because they were both straight. There's no way around it, you idiot.
Really certain.
You just don't see it because to you, heterosexuality is normal. So it's not an agenda. It's the same. Homosexuality is the same thing. So get over it.
Sexual orientations that you want prohibited from introduction in the classroom.
Do you have language to make that better, to make it where you're not talking?
Lady, I didn't introduce your bill.
Okay.
And I didn't write it. You wrote it, and so I'm asking what it means. Which sexual orientations do you believe should be prohibited from Missouri classrooms?
We all have a moral compass. And my moral compass is compared with the Bible.
Separation of church and state.
Lee, I believe during your testimony, you said that you didn't want teachers' personal beliefs entering the classroom, but it seemed a lot like your personal belief. You would like to enter all Missouri classrooms.
You can believe
so
something
fuck off.
Without putting that onto somebody by the way you behave. and you can have beliefs and morals and values that guide you through life.
I don't dispute that, but I'm asking about the language of your bill and how it would permit the mention of the historical figure Martha Washington. Could you explain that to me?
So what does she? Why is she famous? Is she famous because she's married to George Washington?
I mean, that is
It seems
one of
like
the
that
reasons.
would be a relevant fact
That's one of them, definitely.
in her biography, yes.
Definitely other reasons as well.
Could
Would
it be
have to
mentioned under the plain reading language of your bill? Is that a no?
I don't know, sir.
Okay.
Now, based on that video, you could have mistaken him for a liberal. But he's not. He's a pretty standard pro-corporate Republican who's pro-charter schools and pro-crypto, but he happens to be gay. But guess what happened in his last primary? He also got booed as well, even though he's an incumbent. Apparently, the incumbent advantage doesn't apply if you're an openly gay Republican. But that means not one, but two Republican incumbents in this state who directly challenged their party's homophobia were kicked to the curb during GOP primaries.
Because they
maybe
don't
it wasn't
like
determinative,
you.
but it was almost certainly
They
a
don't
contributing
want you
factor.
to exist.
So even
Get
though
that
these
through
two
your
were pretty
head already,
standard
people.
Republicans, they weren't Republican enough.
How many
since
times
they were
do we
gay
have to
men
explain it to
who
you?
challenged the GOP party's
How
orthodoxy
many
on
times
gay
do we
rights.
have to teach you
But
this lesson,
these two
old man?
former lawmakers are just two many examples illustrating that LGBTQ plus
Do
people
I need
simply
to
are
beat you
not
over your head on
welcome
Age of
in the
History
Republican
3 to
Party,
get the point to you?
but they just won't take the fucking hint.
They'll
And many of them
I get the feeling you'd enjoy it if you did
Do
that.
I need to take over? Do I need to take over the world and rename my country Trump? I mean, Republicans don't like you to get the point.
Are probably going to have to learn the hard
No,
way. You know,
no,
some might never
because
learn.
he's as
But if you're
dense as
going
a
to
black
vote
hole.
for and support the leopards eating people's faces party, you don't get to cry when your face inevitably gets eaten by leopards.
Yeah.
My gosh, you guys are stupid. It's not
Hey,
that
look.
hard. It's not that
Their
hard.
entire personality is being stupid, so...
Absolutely stupid. So, yeah, what do you guys say about this? Oh my god. Every single time. Every time we have to bring this up. Every time.
Every single one of them are like that.
Like, let's see, I started getting into, like, politics and the gay issue and became progressive back, like, in 06, 07. So that's 18 years, almost 19 now. What about you?
Probably a bit more recent, but that was only because my anti-SJW phase was a little more intense.
So you're a hardcore reactionary anti-SJW, huh?
And not that, like, I didn't, like, the thing is that people, like, they didn't go further than, like, Ben Shapiro and that. Like, I didn't listen to Ben Shapiro because I knew people like them, because I knew that something was off with them. That they were not good people. But a lot of the anti-SJW stuff kind of annoyed me.
It's so good to know that I've been progressive all my life and never changed. Why can't all others be like me? It's not that hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Fuck you, homophobic cunts. And now, on to the next topic.
Final topic. Russian asset Dimful crushed by a liberal.
Now, good news and bad news about this video. The good news is Dimful made an absolute fool of himself, and it's going to be hilarious. But you want to know the bad news? We gotta watch David Pakman.
Yeah. we gotta watch the pro-genocide piece of shit.
Oh boy!
Oh, he is!
Yep.
Oh, he is! He doesn't consider Palestinians human beings. He thinks that it's anti-Semitic to oppose genocide. He thinks that Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib are like Islamist pieces of shit.
And defends Democrats every time, remember?
Yep, he's a shit tard in that regard.
He's like Dylan Burns, but worse on this topic.
Oh, yeah. Like, at least Dylan's Dylan's a better version of David Pakman.
So, let's watch, hopefully for the only time, David Pakman on our show. But hey, we get to watch Dimful be made fun of, and he went all full Karen, he got humiliated at the end.
Oh,
and he acted like he did. Oh my god. Man, he exploded in this video. So let's watch him rage like a baby over nothing.
I have some unbelievable video to play.
Hello, David Pakman.
I'm pretty damn
Be lucky you don't have to see him like I do.
Lone liberal. Luke.
Oh, and by the way, I just remembered this. Do you remember that episode we covered like last month after Trump won about like that stupid idiot like MAGA couple that said like straight sex is gay and all that?
Yes, I remember
He was the guy that interviewed him. This liberal right here.
God, him.
Yep, he has like hundreds of thousands of subscribers on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So let's watch him crush Dim full with absolutely zero effort, as always.
Beasley, who started going to Trump
I'm surprised he
rallies
didn't burn off his
for us
beanie to look like
now,
Double
I
D.
guess years ago, right? How long has it been? Luke Beasley appeared.
Well, I mean,
the
top of his
Timcast-
hairline's like halfway back to his head, so
he's jealous he doesn't have free hair sticking out like Double D.
Earl, that's IRL.
I know that he's got
Earl
it
show.
seems to have male pattern baldness, and he seems very insecure about it.
5 Megapotamians.
Imagine being insecure.
Who brought the usual
You're like Double D
specious
from
arguments
Ed, and
out.
Eddie.
This is
Yep.
and I saw Luke in DC
And you're as
last week. He
stupid
told
as
me he was
Ed
going
and
to
as
be doing
evil as
this.
Eddie.
And he
You're all
seemed very
freakheads all
prepared.
together.
You know, one of the great things about
Yeah,
So now it makes
and
sense.
then amplified several fold.
It makes all sense now. You're scamming conservatives so you get all your quarters to eat jawbreakers.
Not only did I get to see Luke and the Dollamores and others, I also met folks
Where's
like
Kevin
Dean
to scream at your
Withers, for
dorks?
example, who I think are just doing such a great job in these confrontational
Don't you
debates.
love
And
good
I
old
said
Cartoon
to
Network
them,
shows from the 90s? Unlike the shit now they make.
I don't know if
Yes. No. So does that make Laura Loomer one of the Kanker sisters?
Uh-oh. Better run, Dimple. She would want to have a threesome with you then. Oh, boy.
that I'm just too old for this.
And doesn't believe in
But
consent
I
like the
am too
Kankers.
tired to go through the prep that's required to really seriously be prepared for these sorts of situations. They threw everything at Luke. And I'm going to play for you. This is
Imagine
like a
being
media
dumber than
literacy
Ed of all
clinic,
people,
really.
though.
I'm going to play for you.
Yeah,
some
that's
of what
I'm
happened.
a
This
woodpecker.
is 2.5 hours
As I
long.
bang my head into the dirt like a hammer.
Anyway, let's not even weigh in on that.
Yeah.
But let's dive into it. A couple of different clips here.
Now watch Dim Full have an explosive Karen meltdown over nothing, and we're gonna laugh at him and laugh at him and laugh at him.
And one of the things that
Yep.
Well, let me play it first, and then I'll explain what's interesting about this.
It says from Antifa. Again, tell me. I think you have a great explanation. I certainly do. I'm wondering, as you've made an argument, if you know what you're talking about. How does that connect to my argument? Do you know the difference between various ideologies among the right and the left? You've not been able to define it. I actually know. I would say I'm not a master in the distinguishments between different ideologies within a side. Then how can you claim the right is more violent? Oh, how can you?
January 6th, right off the bat, pal. How about that one?
Don't forget the terrorist attack in down in Arizona that killed 22 Hispanic people and injured 28.
Mm-hmm. And also the one New Zealand that we covered.
Yep.
And the
Yep, that
synagogue
one killed
shooting in
over 50.
Pittsburgh. So many
Yep.
mass shootings
Timothy
everywhere.
McVeigh.
Dylan Roof.
Yep.
And
don't forget
that one shooter in
don't forget all
Buffalo.
don't forget all the Islamic terrorists as well. They're right-wing terrorists.
But they're not
too.
right-wingers. Ah! That's their excuse they always
They
do.
are, though. Oh,
But
the
they're
thing is
Muslims, so
they
who
are.
cares? Fucking morons. But yeah, your ideology is inherently violent. And don't make me have to... And do we have to bring up Hootler? Pooh Bear G? The Nazis?
Yep.
You want to go there? Because we're going to win this argument, so don't even bother trying.
You claim the left is more violent.
Because I know many of
From
these
your
different
feelings
factions
and your observations.
from my field reporting expertise and the reading of the research.
Well, then what research?
Dim Full reads?
So if we distinguish, say, anarcho-libertarian, anarcho-communism, anarcho-syndicalism, we can talk about tankies, we can talk about social liberals, we can talk about traditional liberals.
Now, what Tim Pool is doing here is totally logically
Why you had to ruin the mood,
fallacious.
Pac-Man, by
It's
talking, showing up?
Fallacious, I should say. Oh, boy. What? It's the day after.
He's doing whataboutism.
One of the things Tim Pool is doing here is he is trying to argue that if Luke can't define terms that Tim has arbitrarily put forward, Luke can't possibly evaluate data that shows that
you
there is
can't
far more
evaluate
right-wing
data,
political
Dimful. How about
violence in
that
the
one?
United
Because you're a
States than
Russian paid
left-wing
asset.
political violence. Now, these are two unrelated things. The thing
And I'm going to teach you about that forever, pal. And you're going to cope with even more about it.
between left-wing collectivism and
Yeah.
right-wing collectivism.
Yeah.
Luke said, I don't know.
How much rubles do you have underneath
I
your
can't
beanie?
define that, but that's a separate issue from
That's
crime.
funny.
And of
Because
course,
I'm
there
genuinely
is a
funny,
relatively
unlike these
simple answer to
morons.
the difference between left and right-wing
Yep.
collectivism,
And they're
which
jealous.
is that right-wing collectivism
They're always
is
jealous.
often
Just
based
Just like they're jealous
in
about my
national
manga, and they're jealous
identity,
about my skills in Asian
racial
history free.
identity, etc.
Yep.
Whereas
And they're jealous.
left-wing
Remember, their
collectivism
existence is
more
fueled
often
by
based
jealousy,
along class
so-
lines.
And they're
That's
jealous
what I
about
would
your
say.
fan
But it
fictions,
doesn't
too.
matter, because
Yep.
we know that when you look at
I write
politically
better than
motivated
they ever
violence in the
will
United
because I'm
States,
actually
the
creative
vast
and a decent
majority of it is
person.
right-wing.
And they don't even know how to
I
write.
would even argue because they
Yeah.
they love to play this game where they say any radical Islamist
Yeah, Pac-Man. Can you hurry up and shut up and go away, please? I'd rather watch
Even
them
if
full
you
rage and
give
hear you
them
talk, because we don't like you at all,
most of the political
remember?
violence is still right.
Yep.
But I think if you look at the teachings of radical Islam,
How is
can
it
you
that I
argue
watched
that
this
that's
video
left-wing?
the other
There's
day and I
nothing
don't remember
left-wing
you
there.
talking
You
this
do
much?
have the occasional eco-terrorist, which I think could accurately be branded as left-wing. And we don't want to fall into like a no true Scotsman thing where by definition anyone who commits violence is left-wing.
Shut up
That's not true.
already.
You've got some eco-terrorism.
I want to
occasionally
hear
in the United
Dim
States
full
that we can say
rage
that's
like a
left-wing.
baby.
But certainly
Yep.
the white nationalist violence and all of that stuff is over.
If I'm going to hear this interruption, I'd rather hear Kyle, please. Could we replace you with Kyle?
Violence in the name of a radical literal interpretation of religious doctrine, which you believe should govern civil government, which is what a radical interpretation of Islam would say.
Patriot Mail,
That seems
written by
fundamentally
patriots
right-wing
who
and
hate
authoritarian
David
and fascistic.
Pac-Man.
So anyway,
I'd rather
the
hear
game
that than
Tim
this.
Pool likes to play is
Because
saying, define those
America
terms.
and because
And then when
freedom.
the person
Oh,
attacks, you
yeah, I
go,
miss
well, you
hatred
couldn't
mail.
possibly just look at the data about crime, when of course,
Honestly,
you could. These are
it'd
two
probably be the
completely
only
different-
reason to watch David Pac-Man.
Mm-hmm.
It's just to watch
All right.
those videos.
Where's Lois when you need him?
We move ahead just briefly in this discussion.
Now hurry up and get back
this
to
sort of
Tim
thing just
Pool.
Thank
comes-
you.
Release from University
Thank
of
you.
Maryland. I'm asking you to define
I just
which groups.
I dug and I could not find any research, even that came from a right-wing institution.
Ah, it
that
doesn't feel
gave
much better not
which-
hearing
over
David
across
Pac-Man
which right-wing
talk.
institution. I'm saying I couldn't find one.
I agree. You can't find a right wing institution that tracks.
Oh, there are right-wing institutions that do studies and stuff.
They don't
Think
track
tanks.
this.
Sure,
So
maybe
so
because
this
they're
is.
studied. Do you see what's happening though? I think
You haven't done the research, and so you're saying
apparently you haven't even less than me. Sheesh.
I have what 20 years of field reporting
and
on
you
the
have,
ground,
and every
You have
single
no experience
time
in nothing,
you
Dimful, so shut
come
up.
back to
give me substance.
Yeah.
Bro.
That's what I'm asking you. I'm saying I don't
know.
get caught up, especially like let me give you another example. Crime has been going down. I could go find instances of crimes taking place, right?
FBI lied about
The FBI lied about that. That crime is not going down. They actually
Oh, yeah, sure,
admitted
pal.
those statements. Not crime didn't go down.
FBI lies about the stats,
You do know the
people,
FBI
yeah.
revised
You
the
sound like the
crime rate.
SJWs.
Yeah, say that.
2024.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
seeing a really good trend on that front.
Are you
why-
guys
do you know why,
In
SJWs?
2022, it was not a huge revision.
They are. Of course
Tell me.
they are.
I'm asking you not.
Anyway, so he plays these
Oh,
games
come
where he
on,
wants to
David,
set
can
the
you
terms.
shut
answer
up?
this question, answer that question, and of course,
I
this is
swear
how
I
we
don't
figure
remember
things
him
out
talking
and
this
get
much.
to
I
reality.
saw this video the other
And
day. I remember
I'll admit,
Dimful
this is
talking
a
like
very
5
tough
minutes
situation
straight
to be in
raging
for
like a
Luke.
maniac.
And he handled it as well as
Come
also,
on, I want to hear him
he's
rage.
around
Ramble,
multiple
ramble.
of these
Yes, we need the
multiple of these
raging. Give
people.
us the
And Luke
raging.
is the newest to this.
I'm serious, he
any
went
of
like
these
5 minutes
folks
straight
and
screaming
really
and
holding his
yelling.
own. Let's go to another.
I think I
moment
saw
from
that
this,
somewhere, and it was
discussion
amazing.
I could have sworn this
It was-
was
I
a
think it was-
video.
I think the full thing.
He doesn't
I
like
think the full
how
thing was
Luke is
actually on
handling this, and Tim starts to get very
the
angry.
guy
Specifically cited his
who's
speech. My dude, you
talking
don't know
here
what you're talking about.
actually did a video on it.
Starts to get very angry.
Specifically cited his speech. My dude, you don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what
and
you're
it's
talking
fine.
about.
I get it. We try to
You
be
don't
polite.
know
We try
what
to be
you're talking
nice.
about because
but
you're
there are so
evil.
many young liberals who
Because
sit
you
here and say
support
the
this.
corporate press told me that these people are bad, and the machine state government has decreed it by pen. So I don't care what crime they committed. I don't care what the jury said. I don't care who was on the jury. Enrique Tarrio, who was not there, should be in prison for 2 decades. Tell me this now. Why is Enrique Tarrio in prison?
Yeah, so they uncovered
Oh,
with
David! Oh, now I'm starting to remember. It has to be a different video. I could have sworn this was the video. That was the end of his rant. We only got like the last like few seconds of it. Come
His
on,
plot
he
to
was
overthrow
raging like a
Platinum.
maniac.
Enrique Torres?
Yeah, and his organization. What plot?
I think I know.
Who's that?
What's
Give me
his
some-
name?
I could have sworn that this was freaking the video.
Give me some fucking data. Stop squinting at me and saying the prosecutors did a thing.
Luke's squinting because Tim's losing his mind.
Because that's
He's
all
coming
Dimful
at this
does.
with
Luke Beasley, that's his name.
How dare you
And also,
come in
shut
here
up,
and say
Pac-Man. We didn't
things?
come here to watch you.
Why
We
won't
wanted to
you
hear
do- why
Dimful
won't you
rage
do
and get owned.
dictionary
Not
and
hear
define
you.
every term I give you? Why won't you just tell me I'm right? Luke?
Pac-Man, just be happy to know that only
This is
Hassan's
so
worse than
triggering.
you. And that's saying something.
pretty much.
No,
Yeah.
you didn't read the court papers. All you know is
Even
that the
Bosch is better
fascist
than
machine
you.
state told you he should be in prison, and you're
And
saying
that's saying something. We hate
something
Bosch. Tell me
considering-
what you
No,
do.
I understand that.
Yeah,
laws and books have
considering
been
that
for a long
Bosch is
time, but I agree
literally a
with that if
CIA
it's
agent.
proven that you had a plan and you wanted to act on it, and then days
What's
after.
the proof?
The proof is
Say the
evidence brought
proof.
forward by
Don't
prosecutors.
ask. Say
Evidence, communications.
You know, the problem with everything
Can you
that is
shut
being
up,
levied here
Pac-Man? Stop
is you could
interrupting.
just
That's
as
our
easily
job,
turn this
not
around
you.
on Tim and say, okay, so
Exactly.
it sounds like you're essentially saying you don't respect the way that the laws are written. You don't respect the conclusions of a jury within a trial. You're just saying none of it really matters.
My
and so we can turn
ears
that
hurt
around
hearing
and say,
you
okay,
talk.
so listen, the Rittenhouse, Kyle Rittenhouse's acquittal, I don't agree with the way that the self-defense law is written. I don't agree with the conclusions of the jury. I think the system was biased in his favor. This
There
is
definitely was
sort of
nuances
the
in Rittenhouse when we
conspiracy
covered
theory,
years ago.
or Black Hole I've talked
We're
about
nuanced
before,
at which pisses everyone
where
off.
evidence for and evidence
I love it.
against
I love
or
being
absence of
angry
evidence.
about
It all points to the same
about
conclusion
nuance because nuance destroys their ideology.
Examples where despite
Both the left and the
recorded
right.
audio
Oof.
tapes of Enrique
Yep,
Tarrio, the
pretty
Proud Boy
much.
leader, despite prosecutors proving their case, despite everything that happened, Tim just doesn't agree with it. And so the thing that if I were to critique Luke here, I would say he should have more quickly recognized it doesn't matter what he says. It almost, in the 2.5
You're better off
hours,
picking fun of him for his
it almost
beanie. How about
doesn't
that one?
matter what Luke says. Because what this is really about,
What's under your
it seems
beanie,
to
Double
me,
D?
is that Tim really didn't like that
Yeah.
20-whatever-year-old Luke
You're as
Beasley
dumb
came
as
in
Ed. And look in the
faced down
server.
5 of these people.
I
And
saw
all
it.
they could
Yeah, I
do was
saw it.
blow up and yell at him. Let's look at a little bit more of this.
What communications? What did he say? What did he do?
Is this serious?
Are you
Or
going to tell me
grandstanding?
why you think Enrique Tarrio should be in prison for 20 years, or are you going to
I-
say the government decreed it?
I just explained to you.
So the government said so. Is that it?
It's usually law enforcement, which I guess is a part of the government.
Government said so?
Yep.
So
Law
you can't
enforcement
say why.
that uncovers evidence of communications, a memo that he
It's sort of like how does law enforcement work? Tim?
crafted and sent to his organization, saying what? That detailed each institution of government that they were going to try to overthrow. Then just days later, his organization is at the Capitol.
Typing.
I don't think we can even pull up Enrique Tarrio.
I'm not quite.
All right, so then about a minute goes by, and then it's maybe like the absolute funniest moment where Luke is immediately proven right, and it makes Tim Pool's entire blow up seem really stupid.
States that
Maybe
it's
you
true.
should have showed it, Pac-Man,
Well,
like I
now-
could have
now we
swore
got a
you
problem.
did.
Yeah.
That
Let's
would
try
be
this again.
funny.
Let's try a secondary source.
I think you
let's
need.
see.
I think.
Sorry, let me
I
back
think.
up because we
Luke
actually
Beasley
missed it.
has
Tim
a.
looks it up,
It was
and
probably
it's
somewhere in
exactly
Luke
what Luke
Beasley's
said.
video
So here's a
about
citation.
it.
Proud
That
Boy and
could
3
have
other
had
members
it.
of the
I'd
following
have
groups
to
were convicted
find
of
it.
treason and a plot to attack the Capitol. A jury in Washington, D.C. found Tarrio and 3 lieutenants guilty of seditious conspiracy after hearing dozens of witnesses. Jurors cleared a 5th defendant, Dominic
Wait, we still get to see-
Pizzola, and
we
assisted
still
in
get to
charge
see
and assistant
Dimple
mouse in the
get
Justice
owned
Department,
right
which is
now.
now secured in conspiracy,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
All that bullshit you
it's
did off
exactly
screen for
what Luke
nothing.
said.
They will never stop.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Wikipedia asserts that they did this, but there's actually nothing in the news article that actually states that is true. Well, now we got a problem. Let's try this again. Let's try a secondary source. Let's see. There it is. They introduced evidence that Tarrio discussed with associates a plan to have a large crowd in Washington storm government buildings in a scheme they called 1776 Returns, in which the Winter Palace was used as an apparent code for the U.S. Capitol. In a message, he said, make no mistake,
Seems like
we
January
did
6th
this.
was
Do
planned
what
there,
must be done,
Dimple.
and
How
direct
about
the
that
Proud
one?
Boys to do it again.
Exactly.
So the question then becomes, in the bigger picture,
So are you going to at all acknowledge that you just blew up over something that I was
not
absolutely
because
citing fairly?
because he thinks he was right to blow up because he's an imbecile.
I don't think you cited it fairly.
He wasn't fair, huh? Dimple? Really?
Engaging in plans to overthrow
Yeah,
government.
it's unfair when it's a right winger, but it's fair when a left winger is brutally murdered.
That's a very loose definition of plans to overthrow the government.
Oh, really? Very loose, huh, pal?
Listen, it's all,
Very loose.
listen,
Full of
this
shit.
is really a masterclass from Luke put in a
definition
very
is
difficult position.
literally,
I'm not going to play
like,
this entire thing, but
it's gonna
here's
be
another.
so convoluted and complex that it's literally impossible for anyone to ever meet their definition because they don't think there is such a thing as that.
A moment where the topic of the deficit came up, and this is really good.
So security,
you're not hearing me.
The large spike was COVID. I actually don't know if Trump's debt was in any way more egregious than any of the past presidents. It looks rather linear.
Yeah, I just think if you, again, since this portrays it in a different visual, Axios, Trump, Biden debt, should pull it up. Trump does have, he added more to the debt than any president.
But again, this one says he ran up twice
COVID to be
the
specific.
debt.
I don't know about.
Right. That's COVID.
No, exclude. Look, non-COVID.
Oh, I see. You're right. Yeah, non-COVID.
Trump did double the debt. Biden did, even though they had the same length. But Trump sucks. And he never cut the deficit and expanded debt, which you guys claim you're against. How about that one? Because you're a bunch of morons and a bunch of liars.
Trump is more than double Biden.
They don't
see
oppose
Trump's
it. They actually
position,
support massive
quickly, get that off the screen.
expansion.
Is that you want to be under-leveraged. His idea is that you want to maintain growth above spending, and then it doesn't matter if you're...
But he failed to do that even before COVID, I think we agree.
I don't know. I mean, the economy was doing fairly well, regardless.
That's because of Obama, you idiot.
So that's now he's changing the
exactly.
Now he changes the topic.
And likewise,
now
if the economy does fine right now under Trump, it's going to be because of Biden, you dipshits. And then Trump's going to make it worse, and we have to clean up again like we had to do the first time because you guys suck. As always.
They've had to do for the last 20 years plus, 20, 30, 40 years.
If it's on the right stuff.
Even more with FDR, remember.
Which I think is an important topic to engage with.
Because us liberals fix shit and you conservatives fuck up. Because you're a bunch of fucking morons, as always. And we'll always be morons.
And 2.5 hours.
And likewise,
always have and always will be.
And likewise, you're a moron, Pac. Wait, now can you please go away from my screen? I don't want to see you anymore.
We are going to be doing.
I'd rather see Dim full rage with his beanie off than you.
It will be a discount the likes of which no one has ever even heard of before. If you'd like to take advantage of this one-day membership discount.
Oh, my God. Oh, no, I remember that. Nope. We're not listening to you promote your shit. Nope. You're out, Pac-Man. Go fuck off. Now, hopefully, that will be the only time we ever have to have him on our show. And honestly, I think we might have to bring up that episode topic again next time to see his actual blow because it was so funny. I was so looking forward to laughing at him.
It was amazing.
I could have sworn that's the video, though. I can't think of what other video I could have seen it on, because I only saw it one time. But yeah, what do you guys say about Dim Full getting humiliated and owned, as always?
I loved the full meltdown. It was incredible.
If only you
really got to see how unhinged he went. God.
Imagine getting humiliated by a normal-ass liberal who just sits there looking at you like a moron doing nothing. Man, that took some effort. But then again, Dim Full easily beats all that. And of course, with that, guys, we've done all the topics. So, see you all next time for episode 120.